hot air roasted and cold blended in small batches to ensure premium quality. Whether you prefer a 12-ounce bag or a 28-ounce bag, or even the convenience of K-Cups, you'll find Papa Nicholas Coffee at your local retailer. Taste the difference that 5 generations of expertise brings. Choose Papa Nicholas Coffee, because great coffee is our family tradition. Visit online at papanicholas.com. That's papanicholas.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
AM 560, The Answer.
Prepare to have your mind opened. The lies of the mainstream media are about to be exposed, and the hypocrisy of the left is about to be revealed. This is a revolution in how you think about politics, race, and culture. You've tuned into Black and Right with John Anthony on AM 560, The Answer.
I'm coming in hot. Coming in hot, just like the fajita. I write what I live, my life in the speaker. I'm nice with the flow, just like the demeanor. I'm feeding my fam, I'm feeding the meter. They got the iron while I got the steamer. I bring the fire, but you never seen her. I testify, I don't need a subpoena. They want my soul, better go to Korea. I love my dog just like I'm Peter. Gotta protect him. I made the call up, but just like I'm reffing. I know we left, yeah, now we back together, but I guess that is better now. Later than never, like, what's happening?
Good afternoon, everybody. This is Jim Economos, otherwise known as Jim from South Elgin, filling in today. This is the first time I've ever hosted a show here on this station, so this is an honor. I'm proud that John asked me to do this. And whenever I start a new radio adventure, I always like to give a little bit of history. This moment for me started about 20 years ago when our morning show host, Dan Proft, asked me to be in studio with him when he was working with Deborah Rowe back in the old days on WLS. And I walked in the studio and I was like, blah, blah, blah. And here I am now, 20 years later, running the mic. So, Dan, thanks a lot for the time you, the trust you gave me then. And there's been a lot that's happened since. And also, Dan had a long history because way back when, he was part of a great website called the IllinoisLeader.com. And that's when I kind of got my start on writing op-eds and things like this. And he went on to radio and went to great heights. And here I am, 20 years later here. And also, when I'm on John Anthony's show, we got to buy the merch. He's got some great merchandise, guys, so open up your pockets, your wallets, and buy some merch, because these glasses, for example, very classy. Now, what I want to do is spend a few minutes talking about what I've done or people I work with, and we're going to have a few guests on this first hour, but a lot of information is really gathered by a lot of great think tank people. So, for example, there's one group called the Capital Research Center. They're in Washington. They're going to be calling in at the bottom of the hour. And, for example, here's one publication they did. It's called Marching Towards Violence. They go into the details of all these communists, these groups that work together, that are trying to subvert our country and do things. And there's a lot of good detail that the mainstream media does not tell you because they're not honest about things. Another good group we're going to have on this afternoon, is called Heartland Institute. They have a great publication called Healthcare News. They used to have budget tax and some other things, and we're going to have Mr. Lakely come on at 4:15 to discuss his group and some of the things they do. And then later on, we're going to have the Illinois Policy Institute people come in, or call rather, and Dylan Sharkley is going to be giving some details, and they're also a very good group. They've been around for a long time, and they have some good ideas, and these people need to be supported. So I want to kind of give some notification, kind of show what they do and try to get people to get involved with them, send them some money, go to some of their activities. For example, in September, Heartland had a great event with Nigel Farage and some other people. It was fabulous. And these events are worth going to. People should be aware of them. You should go there and support these groups. Other people that I support, for example, is AMAC, because AARP is very liberal, but AMAC has great publications. Their information, these newspapers are excellent. They're worth worth reading. And I urge people, if you're old enough, join AMAC. I have a lifetime membership. These people do phenomenal work, unlike AARP, which supported Obamacare. And also, everybody's aware of Turning Point Action. Charlie Kirk, he's been around Chicago. He's from Wilmette, and his work is phenomenal. His efforts and other people, is what got Donald Trump elected. And these are the kind of people that we need to support, and you're seeing the beneficial results now of how things have turned around lately. And then also, Newsmax is a very fine organization. Their information is also phenomenal in their magazines. You should support them, join them. They have they do a whole bunch of great things. They need to be supported. And also, Judicial Watch is an excellent group. Tom Fitton, his stuff is very good. In fact, he did a very good expose. This was it was called Judicial Watch COVID Project. This is a 20-page documentary. In the second hour, we're going to go into this detail about COVID and a lot of the misinformation that was going on during those times, because our government lied to us. You know, Fauci and all these people, and this exposes very well what they did. So just like for a small example, they get into the details because they did all these FOIA requests. So a lot of this information was taken from these, through these efforts. And again, the mainstream media doesn't do its job. So we have to support people like what I'm talking about to help them do their excellent work so it can help all society. So just for example, on this executive summary, they discovered coordination between state governments, polling firms such as in Michigan, where they had to find better ways to frighten the populations about the danger of COVID and the failure to adhere to supposedly COVID mitigation strategies. Kind of like what our governor said, we have to have these mitigation strategies. We have to have the restaurants closed. You have to have kids all day long in face diapers. In my case, I've got a beautiful little daughter. She'll be 10 in March. When she was in kindergarten, of course, she stayed home. All schools were closed. The next year, all these kids had to be in schools with face diapers on, and I refused. So I had this lady come out and homeschool her, and that didn't work out because she's in my house. She was tired. She had to eat breakfast. So then I found another lady who was a Catholic school teacher, and she pulled her children out of her school for the same reason. So my daughter spent her first year in first grade education in this lady's house. And it was a great environment, no masks. These kids were all friends. They had lunch together. It was a beautiful thing. Then when my daughter started second grade at the Catholic school, within a week, I'm getting notifications from the teachers. The red flags. Your daughter, Jaylene, she's excellent in everything she does, but she's deficient in reading. And that's because she just didn't catch up. Well, unlike Chicago schools and public schools where they socially promote people without their qualifications being met, they said, we suggest you put her back in first grade. And we did that, and now she's thriving. She's a wonderful little girl. And I tell you, I was so upset by seeing these kids in face diapers. It was just awful, and it wasn't needed. So this is something that I share with a lot of people, because these public schools in Chicago, I mean, what's the budget? $30,000 a year per kid. They've got all these buildings that are more than half empty. In Chicago, they want to raise all these taxes. They might put speeding cameras on the streets and things, lower the speed limit down to 25. Well, guess what? That's a big sign. Stay out of Chicago. And this shouldn't be. So therefore, it's my dedication to try to do what I can do in my own limited time and resources to share what I've learned with people, so I can share, other people can do the same thing, and collectively we can try to help make things better. It's very important in my opinion. And finally, another group is called the Committee for Constructive Tomorrow. These people get into a lot of the information as far as climate change and all the other nonsense, where they're best, they're not, how can I say this? Their science they use is political. It's not science, And I think that for example, you've got the attack on natural gas stoves. There are people saying, "Oh, if you burn natural gas, there's more kids that are going to get sick." In fact, the village of Oak Park, like Hemingway said, the village of broad lawns and narrow minds, they banned new construction from having natural gas hookups. That's absolutely stupid. That forces people into electric only. And for example, when the electric goes out, what do? A lot of people have gas generators for backups. Well, you can't do that if you don't have natural gas. And secondly, when people advocate that natural gas is bad for you, they basically flunk chemistry 101. Because when you burn natural gas, methane gas, it's a very light gas. It's odorless, so they have to add mercaptan to it so you know that there's a gas leak. But basically, when you burn gas, your byproducts, besides the heat, is water vapor and carbon dioxide. Of course, that gets politicized too now. Ever since that Supreme Court decision where CO2 could be considered, somehow some sort of a dangerous gas, and all it is plant food. So a lot of these groups like CFAT and these other people that I'm talking about, they're trying to get people to understand and get the message out in education, especially these politicians that vote on things without understanding what they're voting for. As a matter of fact, I think any politician that votes on these issues should be forced to take chemistry, biology, and physiology to understand what they're voting for. Because they get these lobbyists in there and things. And in Illinois, there was some lady, some Democratic Assembly lady, wanted to sit there and put, you have to have natural gas warning on stoves. It's patently stupid. It's not needed. But again, because of the misinformation, and that's part of the, what they try to use with the COVID to scare people, this is what's happening, and it shouldn't be. So anyways, we're going to have some people calling in here next short time, and it'll be an interesting show. Thank you.
Mike Gallagher sees more delusion.
Imagine bragging about raising $1.5 billion, now apparently over $20 million in debt, in a failed campaign. I mean, the woman needs an intervention. She's either on a bender, she's in the middle of a bender, something's really, really wrong.
The Mike Gallagher Show, weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Balance of Nature makes a difference in my well-being and how I feel and everything. It's true. It makes a difference. If you take Balance of Nature, you have a happy day because you just feel a little better. It's like a restaurant in New Orleans. Her famous saying was, when you come to our restaurant, you leave a little happier than when you got here. And that's what Balance of Nature does. It lets your day be a little happier than it would be without the Balance of Nature.
Merry Christmas! This season, be part of the cheer and save big with our exclusive Christmas deal. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Don't miss out. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive Christmas offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
If your approach to everyday aches and pains is to mask them, feel better for a few hours only to have the pain return and then repeat the cycle all over again, it's time to try Relief Factor. And the good news is Relief Factor makes that easy. Their 3-week quick start is just $19.95, less than $1 a day. Instead of masking pain, Relief Factor helps eliminate it. How? Well, its unique formula of ingredients helps support your body's response to inflammation. Relief Factor was developed by doctors. It's 100% drug-free, and for so many people, the results are game-changing, even life-changing. So give it a try. Right now, their 3-week quick start is just $19.95. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. See how in a few weeks or even days, Relief Factor can reduce your pain. When you feel better, life is just better. So don't mask pain. Fight it naturally with Relief Factor.
Fentanyl kills 400 Americans per day. The new documentary, Fentanyl, Death Incorporated, explores this deadly epidemic.
It is the equivalent of a 747 going down every 2 days.
Where is all of this stuff coming from?
Supply chains, super labs, open borders, letting it all in.
All roads lead back to China.
They're killing our children. And how do we change that?
Don't miss Fentanyl, Death Incorporated. It could save someone you love. Watch it now at salemnow.com. salemnow.com.
Attention American homeowners, you're under attack. Your home and equity could be vulnerable to cyber thieves. There's only one company that completely stops them, and that company is Equity Protect. Equity Protect prevents any attempts to steal your home, equity, and ownership 24/7. Get your free risk report today by texting the word HOME to 94878. That's right, text the word HOME to 94878 to get your free risk report. Keep your equity and legacy safe with Equity Protect.
This is Black and Right with John Anthony on AM 560. The Answer.
Something new. Stop.
Well, welcome back, folks. In this segment, we have Jim Blakely calling in from the Heartland Institute. Jim, thanks for calling us, and welcome to the show.
Very happy to be on the program today. Thank you.
I appreciate it. I've been a supporter of your groups for a long time. Currently now, James Taylor is the CEO, the head of the group, but not to be confused with James Taylor, the singer. This guy's got a little more common sense. But anyways, I was just...
Quite a bit more common sense.
That's right. Well, anyways, I was just talking about this publication. So, for example, on the issue from October, it says Medicare drug insurance price becomes a headache. And then at the bottom it says public lost trust in doctors after COVID-19. Well, this is what happens when all this stuff is being pushed on, and the government and all these people are lying to us. So it's good for people like you, and that's why I want people to support your group and other groups, because collectively, if we get more people behind you, you can do the work that you have done and do even more. So tell us a little bit about what's going on these days with you guys.
Well, yeah, just to tell your audience, the Heartland Institute, we're basically your hometown conservative libertarian think tank. We've been based in the Chicago area since 1984. We just celebrated our 40th birthday. And we're in the ideas business, and we're in the spreading good ideas business. And we are educating the public and members of Congress and policymakers and state legislators and local legislators on free market economics and how they really need to be getting government at all levels out of the way of individuals and the economy, so that we can all prosper. I mean, this used to be kind of basically the American way, but we have lost the American way. America has lost its way in a lot of ways over the last, especially the last, I would say, 10 years for sure, and certainly during the Biden administration. I heard you say that there's a lot of stupid thinking going on out there. I think the American electorate got a lot smarter in November, and I think we're going to see a lot smarter public policy out of Washington, and that's going to have a ripple effect on the states and your localities pretty soon. These are exciting times. We're living in history. This is pretty great.
Well, I'll say worldwide for that matter. I've got family down in Honduras, and the people down there are ecstatic. And I was actually in the Dominican Republic recently, and I have some Venezuelan friends there, and they're happy as can be, because the world, it's this whole positive change. People can feel it, so it's wonderful. And now he doesn't have to deal with all this FISA stuff and all this other garbage, Russian collusion and all the other nonsense he had to put up with.
Yeah, I was really encouraged. When Trump was reelected, I was thinking to myself, it would be great if the first state visit was Javier Milei down there in Argentina, a hardcore libertarian who campaigned with a chainsaw.
That's right, para fuera. He had all these, XYZ bureaucratic government, para fuera, XYZ, X, right. Para fuera. It was great. Yeah,
it was great. But the first foreign dignitary to visit Donald Trump in Mar-a-Lago, I believe, was Javier Milei after his election. So that's a fantastic sign.
Absolutely,
that Trump is going to be doing a lot of great stuff.
Well, and I'm kind of hoping with Marco Rubio, maybe we can get Cuba to become a free state.
Yeah,
that would be great.
That would be good.
Yeah, and also you guys have a lot of wonderful events. This year, you had your event with Nigel Farage. And I'm going to butcher the guy's name, Jay Bhattacharya, the guy that Trump's going to have on. And these other people, they were all fantastic. As a matter of fact, I wanted to play the response of the question I asked of Nigel Farage about 24% or a quarter of the kids being born in London, their first name is Mohammed. And he gave me a great response, but I wasn't able to record it. I don't know if we can do that somehow later on, link to it so we can play it, because it was a great response and a warning to America.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is it's funny. We had Nigel Farage for our 40th anniversary benefit dinner back in September.
Yep.
And I had the honor and the pleasure of driving, basically being Nigel Farage's personal driver for a couple of days. And we actually had a wonderful conversation. James Taylor, our president, had a great conversation with Nigel Farage at a cigar lounge in the suburbs of Chicago. And we have that interview taped. You can go to heartland.org, and right there on the front page you'll see a link to it to be able to watch that for yourself. But as I'm driving around, I said, Nigel, when Brexit happened, it was a big shock to the system. And then several months later, Trump was elected president of the United States. Two things that the establishment and the media around the world did not think could ever happen, and yet they happened. And I said, Nigel, your Reform Party in the UK, you have broken from the Tories. As a lot of conservatives do around the world, that talk about the uniparty here in the United States, it's actually closer and worse among the so-called Conservative Party and the Labour Party in the UK. And I said, so you led this new revolution, once again, conservative revolution in the UK. Your party far exceeded any expectations, and now you are actually the betting favorite, and they bet on everything in the UK. You're the betting favorite to be the next prime minister after this Labour government will eventually be turned out. I said, does that mean Donald Trump's going to win the election in November? It seems to me that history could repeat itself. And he said, Nigel Farage is very close with Donald Trump. He actually spent election night at Mar-a-Lago watching the returns come in with Donald Trump. And he said, I really do believe he's going to win. I feel like there's something happening in the world. And I felt it then, and I feel it again today. Nigel was right, and here we are.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of positive mental energy. Absolutely, I agree 100%. As a matter of fact, one of my best friends, he's a Brit, so I put him on the phone with Nigel when he was there. At the end of the show, of course, and he's got a pint, so he had a pint with Nigel.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, in the past, you've had you had Naomi Parks on, the lady who fled North Korea. You've had John Stossel. You've had to tell some of the other people you've had at these events. So people should really go to these events you guys have once a year. If I could make a suggestion, though, maybe instead of having downtown, how about like somewhere in Rosemont or Schaumburg where it's easier to get to? Because a lot of people, hate to say this, getting in the city sometimes is kind of a pain. It's nice to be downtown, but sometimes spread out a little bit might be useful.
Yeah, well, actually, that was our first one in the city in many years. We got tired of being vagabonds, going from one office to another after the rent got jacked in Chicago. We were in the Loop for most of our 40 years. Yeah. But we moved out to Arlington Heights, Illinois, in the northwest suburbs in 2016. So actually, a lot of our benefit dinners end up being, we've had them at the Cotillion in Palatine, and we've also had them at a Marriott right there in Rosemont by the airport. So, but yeah, we've had James O'Keefe came. We gave him the Heartland Liberty Prize a couple of years back.
Yep,
that was an unforgettable night. What a brave man he is.
Oh yeah.
Glenn Beck was again. We gave him the Heartland Liberty Prize. He gave one of the most unforgettable, evening addresses that we've ever had at our event. Again, we've had John Stossel. And we've been holding these events for most of our 40 years of existence. We've had Walter Williams the late great Walter Williams as a recipient. Father Robert Sirico, who I think a lot of your listeners may be familiar with, the founder of the Acton Institute. He's a Roman Catholic priest who's been basically running his own think tank. He's an intellectual and for freedom and free market economics. So, if you're interested, if you are a conservative, if you are a libertarian, if you're interested in making the world a freer place, you should go to heartland.org, check out what we do. We push back at climate alarmism all around the globe, and we've been very successful for that. We are the most hated think tank in the world among climate alarmists, which is something that we take a lot of pride in.
I was going to say that's a badge of honor. I always tell my liberal friends, if you want to reduce your carbon output, quit breathing.
Yeah, you first.
Yeah, I mean, really, it's so stupid. I mean, what do you think plants need to thrive on? It's called photosynthesis, bro.
Right.
And that's that's why I said before. Yeah. These politicians vote on things as science. Should take some science before they vote on them because they don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's actually kind of what Heartland Institute does. I mean, a lot of these people, if you're a politician, you don't know a lot of science. You don't know a lot of economics, for that matter. You're not necessarily an expert on education policy, and that's where the Heartland Institute comes in. We help educate these people that are making the public policy that we have to live under more informed and in a more free market and freedom-oriented direction.
Well, real quickly, what's the phone number for people to call and get involved?
It's 312-377-4000, but the best way to get more information about Heartland is heartland.org, heartland.org.
Get your pens and pencils, guys, heartland.org. Join and get involved. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
On Monday, January 20th, Donald Trump will be sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. AM 560, The Answer, is throwing a party. Join us for our inauguration celebration on January 20th at Saddle Up Q in Aurora. Enjoy a brunch buffet with AM 560 listeners as we watch the inauguration of President Trump. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/Trump47. That's 560theanswer.com/Trump47.
Fox News, I'm Daria Albinger. More suspicious drone sightings near some sensitive areas in Virginia.
InsideNova.com reporting that law enforcement officials in Stafford, Spotsylvania, and King George counties say drone sightings have appeared over areas that are home to military bases and national security facilities.
Fox's Paul Stevens. World leaders may be attending the inauguration of President-elect Trump. Fox's Rebecca Castor with details.
The president-elect has already extended an invitation to one of America's biggest rivals, Chinese President Xi Jinping. Diplomats and ambassadors typically attend the inauguration, but there are no records showing a foreign leader has.
Trump gets sworn in on January 20th. So far, the only living president who said he would attend is Jimmy Carter, but he can't due to health reasons. America is listening to Fox News.
This is Sean Thompson. When you go on vacation, does it make sense to have somebody else pack for you? Of course not. The same can be said for your retirement. Your 401k could be packed with things you don't know about or even need. If you're close to retirement, but you don't have a plan customized to your goals, it's like kind of taking a 30-year vacation with no idea what's in the suitcase. Sounds like a stressful way to begin what should be a relaxing time. Tom Fortino at Alpha Wealth Group can help you unpack your savings and build a plan to reduce future taxes, address Social Security and health care, and a whole lot more, all with a clear, defined income strategy. Call the Alpha Wealth Group at 630-934-1855. Ask for the complimentary retirement plan. That's 630-934-1855 or online at alphawealthgroup.com. And listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. right here on AM 560.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
If you own or run a business and you listen to AM 560, you might not realize that the conservative programming that you enjoy is supported by advertisers. Our loyal listeners love to do business with the advertisers they hear every day on AM 560. Now, it probably won't surprise you that there are some businesses who avoid advertising with us because they don't like what we do here. And that's okay, because our audience wants to support businesses that support what we do and think like we think. We would love to have you join the list of successful companies who are already reaching new, like-minded customers. Most AM 560 advertisers have been here for years for one simple reason: they get results. Join our efforts to make a difference in the lives of our listeners who are passionate about supporting our great family of AM 560 advertisers. To learn more, just visit 560theanswer.com/advertise. That's 560theanswer.com/advertise.
You've probably heard about the efforts by automakers to take AM radio out of new vehicles. This initiative has gained momentum during the Biden administration with the push for EVs. So as we enter a new political era in 2025, it's crucial that voices like ours and the content you hear on this radio station remain accessible in every vehicle. You can help to secure the future of AM radio by texting AM to 52886 and urge your member of Congress to support the AM Radio for Every Vehicle Act that would keep AM radio in cars. Just text AM to 52886.
It's time for Christmas at Cantini, a time for laughter and joy, a time for cherished moments by coming together with the ones you love. Be awed by twinkling lights, feel the thrill of gliding on ice, and enjoy the cozy warmth of s'mores by the fire. Cherish the moments together this holiday season at Christmas at Cantini. Get your tickets at Cantini.org. Sponsored by the Robert R. McCormick Foundation.
A large retail store just canceled a huge order, leaving MyPillow with a ton of extra MyPillows. But you know what? That's their loss and your gain. For the first time ever, you'll get a standard classic MyPillow for wholesale prices, only $14.88. But it gets even better. For a limited time, they're going to offer their entire classic collection at wholesale prices. Get queen-size MyPillows for just $18.88. Upgrade to king-size for only $1 more. Get the body pillows for $29.88 and multi-use MyPillows for only $9.88. So go to MyPillow.com and use promo code LIBERTY or call 800-489-0201 to take advantage of wholesale pricing for the first time ever and receive free shipping on orders over $75. That's right. Get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88. They have never been offered this low before. They're limited quantities at this price, so the limit is going to be 10, and once they're gone, they're gone. So go to MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201 and use promo code LIBERTY to get the standard MyPillow for only $14.88, the lowest price ever.
And now, more Black and Right with John Anthony on AM 560. The Answer.
Switch your attitude. Go ahead, level up yourself. This that different latitude. Life too short, go spoil yourself. Feel that feel, enjoy yourself. Cause we have everything we need. We have everything we need.
Well, while we're waiting for our next guest to call in, just a little bit about myself. One of the reasons why I became so political is because of my own experiences. When I was a kid, I graduated dental school in 1979. We had the greatest class, U of I Dental School, class of 79. One of our classmates, Jim Willey, was the mayor of Elburn. We've had a lot of our guys that were involved with the AD, the American Dental Association, the Illinois State Dental Association. Quite a few guys became specialists, so we've had quite a good run. And when I opened my office, I was just out of school. I was working in Chicago and things. I actually learned a lot from my boss because talking to him, he was a great guy. He wasn't a good dentist, but he was a great guy to talk to. And, you know, when you're first out of school, you just don't know a lot of things. And, you know, one of those was when I opened my office, I got there and I was just paying rent. And I'm in the little part of Cook County that's near DuPage and Kane. And because, in part of tax trouble and also because of the recession that was going on at the end of Carter, beginning of Reagan, there was a slowdown because the interest rates were so high. So financing a home was like financing with a credit card. And, of course, that puts a brake on these sorts of activities. So anyways, the taxes on my building when I was still a tenant initially were $7,000, 1980. 1981 went to $10,000. Then from 1981 to year 2000, I went up to $27,000. So imagine your tax bill going from $7,000 to $10,000. And I wasn't an owner then, but I became the owner because in part the guy who owned it couldn't pay the taxes. So I went back to the guy that owned the buildings, a contract sale, and he couldn't deal with it, so he gave it to me. Of course, I had to pay the mortgage, assume the mortgage. But at that time, it was a vacant parking lot. There was, I had to redo the whole roof. I had to put a parkway with the trees and things like this to make the building what it is today. Now, the one thing that Cook County did do was they created what's called the mixed use. And this is something that a lot of people, again, don't understand if you're in business. If you're in Cook County, commercial real estate property taxes are a killer. And if you go to the south suburbs like Chicago Heights, Fort Heights, and Sauk Village and all these places, you'll see that, things are just horrible there because commercial real estate is so expensive. Anyways, we have on the live line here, we have Scott Walter, who's the president of the Capital Research Center. And his group also, just like Heartland and these other folks, do a great job. So one of the things that I showed before was their publication. It's called Marching Towards Violence. And they go into all this detail about all these groups. So, Scott, welcome to the show. Tell us about what you guys do and educate the folks and tell people how we can get a hold of you and support your activities.
Sure. I sure appreciate you having me on. It's an honor to be with you, and God bless you fighting the struggles of Chicago. Not an easy place for business or family.
You know what they say, Illinois sick, it's got Democratitis, a very serious political disease.
Well, at Capital Research Center, what we specialize in is investigating the left deeply and exposing it widely. So I think the simplest way for people to get a sense of us is just go to influencewatch.org. influencewatch.org. That is our Wikipedia of the left. You have over 13,500 entries on foundations, mega donors, unions, lefty groups, lefty activists, movements like the Green New Deal, that kind of thing. So, and the I warn you, you're going to lose 5 hours of your life the first time you go, because you're just going to go down rabbit hole after rabbit hole, because like Wikipedia, it's all interconnected. And of course, the left is all interconnected, right? So that's one of our big things. Another thing that we do is, this is something I bet not many folks will have heard of, but there's a thing called Arabella Advisors. And you think, well, I haven't heard of that. It can't be that important. You'd be wrong. It is the biggest dark money machine on the left. In the 2022 election cycle, they took in $3 billion. That is way more than the Republican National Committee, Senate Committee, House Committee, plus the Democrats, 3 committees like that combined. You still got to add $500 million to get to the money they took in. So,
now, do you think some of this money comes from like Chinese and other foreign investors? Somehow they're able to disguise where the money's coming from and infuse it into our system?
Well, the one thing we know for certain in the case of Arabella is that there is a Swiss billionaire, not an American citizen, therefore not allowed to mess in our politics, but a Swiss guy. Again, you haven't heard of him, Hans-Jörg Wyss, but he's lived here for years. He's got billions, and $250 million of his dollars has flowed through Arabella, and another $250 million through other lefty nonprofits.
Yeah.
So yes, his foreign money definitely is. And remember, our U.S. billionaires, Gates and Zuckerberg and
right.
Soros and Omidyar.
If you could hold on for a little bit, we'll hold you in the next section.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
2 weeks after I had been taken, after I had started taking them, I told the wife, I said, I don't know what it is, but I feel like I'm 20 years old. Ever since, I just stayed on it. And I'm not the most educated guy, but anyhow, I'm not the dumbest guy in the area. And I do know what they got in there, just reading on it and everything. I'm pleased with it. Anybody I speak to, I convince them right away that give it a try.
Merry Christmas! This season, be part of the cheer and save big with our exclusive Christmas deal. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Don't miss out. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive Christmas offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
Life takes a toll on our bodies. No way around it. Whether it's sitting hours on end at your computer or working a physical job, over time your body pays the price. There is, however, an effective way to turn back the clock on pain, Relief Factor. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor helps support your body's response to inflammation. The difference? Instead of masking pain, Relief Factor helps eliminate it for good. And it's 100% drug-free. If the pains that come with living a full life are affecting you, do as so many others have. Turn back the clock on pain with Relief Factor. Their 3-week quick start is just $19.95, less than $1 a day. When you feel good, it's amazing how much more you get out of life. So visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. Try it for only $19.95. While we can't stop aging, not yet, we can stop pain. Turn back the clock with Relief Factor.
Healthcare.gov has plans for health because you have plans for life. All plans cover doctor visits and emergency care to keep you and your family running strong. All plans cover hospital stays and prescriptions, so you can have peace of mind. Visit healthcare.gov to explore health plans from the brands you know. 4 out of 5 customers can find a health plan for $10 or less per month with financial help. Enroll at healthcare.gov by December 15th for coverage starting January 1st. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you'll destroy your life. Listen to The Flatline with Rick Hughes tomorrow morning at 7. The Flatline describes a main line of resistance in your soul built on God's Word. Listen tomorrow morning for inspiration, motivation, education, all without manipulation. That's The Flatline with Rick Hughes tomorrow morning at 7 on AM 560. The Answer. We now return to Black and White on AM 560. The Answer. Here's John Anthony.
Well, Scott, as we were talking about, you guys do phenomenal work. And how can people support you, get a hold of you, and how many people subscribe to your publications and things?
We have about 20,000 people who get our every other week email, and you can sign up for that at capitalresearch.org. Capitalresearch.org. Sign up for the free twice a month e-newsletter. It's not a money grubbing thing. It's the greatest hits of our research. Because every week we have some new amazing thing. And I guarantee you there'll be all kinds of things fascinating that you didn't know and wouldn't see anywhere else. I'm proud, by the way, that one of the things that we've done, for instance, is we have been a big help to those folks trying to defend Clarence Thomas, still being lynched by the Senate Judiciary Committee, alas.
Oh, absolutely.
So we have been able to be helpful on that score, and we expect to be very helpful to the DOJ, the Department of Government Efficiency. We've already started digging in through government grants for them. So wherever there's action, you'll find us. I testified 4 times to Congress this past year, just this last week, about the crazy flag-burning Hamas and Antifa folks over the summer in D.C., if you remember that. They yanked down the American flags, burnt them, and put up Palestinian flags.
But that's not
I had a
insurrection.
few things to say about that.
But that's not
No,
insurrection.
Oh, no. No, it was mostly peaceful.
Just like the cities burning down during the summer of 4 years ago. No, this is
Exactly.
phenomenal stuff. In fact, Clarence Thomas, I actually, in my home, I have 2 hand-signed letters from him because he's been so belied. And when people want to sit there and criticize him, I sent him a copy of his, his video during his Senate confirmation. This is just a modern-day lynching, uppity Negro. He's such a great guy. I respect him so much, so I appreciate your efforts for that. Absolutely. So,
Yes, well, his enemies include Arabella Advisors, actually is central to the 2 groups that are most trying to attack the court, something called Demand Justice and another called Fix the Court. And they're both pretty fraudulent, and they both are all mixed up in that Arabella Advisors dark money network, too.
well, this is why we need people like you to reach out, and this is one of the reasons why I want to have people like you this first hour. I've never done my own radio show, so this is a new one for me. But I've been reading your stuff for a long time. Your magazines are phenomenal. The details you guys reveal is outstanding, and this is what the mainstream media doesn't do. So this is why I support people like you guys, the other think tanks around, and people should, send them a few bucks here and there for a contribution, man. Help them do their work so they can do a good job for us.
Well, we're sure grateful for that, and you probably saw perhaps our latest major report was called Marching Towards Violence, which is precisely about those Hamas and Antifa groups, who, of course, work together, right? It doesn't matter. Some of them some of them sound like, oh, that's an environmental group, right? Yeah, but actually they're for Palestinians killing Jews, too.
Right. Well, I'm holding an issue right here. I got it right here. I'm showing it in front of the camera so people can see what you're talking about. This is phenomenal stuff.
Terrific.
Yeah, this is, I've been subscriber years for a while. And one of the things I like to do when I'm flying along in a flying tube, I put my cell phone down and I read magazines. And I take pictures, and sometimes I'll crop them and send them on Facebook and spread the word out to other people, because this kind of information is vital, in my opinion.
Well, yeah, I mean, it takes us hours and hours, right, to dig it up. So, of course, ordinary person trying to live a life, much less trying to run a business or a family in Chicago, you probably don't have 6 hours to chase down, like, is this group really crazy, or are they just critics of Israel, as they like to say?
Yes. Yeah.
So, yes, well, we dig into the dirt so you don't have to.
Well, that's why people have to support you, and this is one of the reasons why I'm doing this segment on these different groups, because this is phenomenal stuff. And we'll have other people. I think John might have you back on some other time again to go into more detail about what things you're doing. So thank you for calling, sir.
My honor. Thank you. Merry Christmas.
Appreciate it. Happy New Year. Now we have on the phone, on the line, Dylan with the Illinois Policy Institute. Dylan, welcome to the show.
Of course. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. In fact, I just heard you were on Sean Thompson last night. I didn't realize you were going to be on back-to-back. I was in my car, heard your interview with Sean, and I've known Dan Patlack for quite a while, and he's been with you guys. So tell people about what you're doing a little bit and what's going on with your group and what you've done.
Sure. Well, thanks again for having me. I'm glad you could catch the interview yesterday. So I'm the assistant editor at the Illinois Policy Institute, and we are the leading voice for taxpayers in the state. We research public policy issues affecting Illinoisans every day of the week, and through our lobbying arm in Springfield, we can advocate for these reforms to lawmakers, so people can see real change. We take on the biggest issues facing the state, with number one by far being property taxes, with the second highest property taxes in the country. Homeowners feel the pain every day, renters too, because of course property taxes get passed along to renters, and we try and make it newsy for people to understand more of these complicated issues. So, like, for instance, it's the holiday season, so one of the things we do around this time of year every year is we pull up the property tax bills for the house in Winnetka where they filmed Home Alone. And of course, being a beautiful neighborhood, it's high property taxes, but we just juxtapose that with the statewide issue of Illinois' second highest in the nation for property taxes, and we just educate people every day on those issues.
Well, I was saying before you called in, you go to these south suburbs in Chicago, some of their taxes doubled.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, it's a pressing issue every year, and on the commercial side,
it's even worse.
Yeah,
my friend, I'll give a shout out. My friend Andy John owns the Chicago Italian Prime Restaurant in Schaumburg. 2 years ago, his tax bill was $90,000. It went up to $130,000. Now, how are people supposed to stay in business? And a lot of people in urban talk radio land are always complaining. Well, you keep voting the same people, nothing's going to change until you change your voting pattern. In Indiana, for example, they made a law: your property tax bill cannot go up by more than 1% per year.
Yeah, and the frustrating part on the commercial side, my dad's a business owner. He and my grandfather own a business in Cook County.
Yeah.
But many of them live in Cook County. So when they get frustrated, sure, they can appeal it and do the best they can. But in terms of the politicians in office, they can't vote for any Cook County offices. So what does Cook County care if they raise those property taxes? Because you have business owners who could live in a different area, and then there's no recourse for them on the ballot box. Now, the residential side, most homeowners can do it unless if you have a second home, which you're not voting in that area. But on the commercial side, it's particularly punitive because they might live in a different area. And
that's why there's so much vacant property.
Yes, exactly. And Illinois has the second highest corporate income tax rate in the country. So you combine that with the property taxes, we're arguably the worst state in the country for a brick and mortar business.
Well, that's why it's the drip, drip, drip out of Illinois. Essentially, Illinois has a big sign: "Do not come here. Stay out." And sadly,
right.
People keep voting for them. It's just awful.
Right. Chicago in particular has had its lowest population since 1920. And to your point on the voting patterns, it's particularly unfortunate because with low turnout, the people who are put in power are put there by a relatively small group of people. Take Chicago Mayor Brandon.
Real quickly, what's the phone number so people can call your office and get involved and maybe contribute money, etc.?
Well, if you'd like to help out, we have a free newsletter every day that people can sign up for. If you go to illinoispolicy.org, we have our morning briefing that I help put together too. It's our research combined with the top story from the Chicago Tribune, Chicago Times, the Daily Herald.
Thank you, sir.
Also central stuff. Yeah, of course. Thank you.
My pleasure.
I think one of the things that patients don't realize is that when they get a joint replacement, that's not a lifetime treatment option. And they're probably, if they are a younger patient, signing up for multiple surgeries down the road.
As a physician and medical director for QC Kinetics, Dr. Caravelli's seen a pattern of trending joint pain. Prolonged medication, steroids, then surgery, possibly another surgery.
So a lot of our patients are trying to avoid or put off surgery, and this is the treatment that can help them do that.
QC Kinetics extracts your body's healing substances, concentrates them back into your aching joints to help heal and restore those areas, providing lasting relief.
Oh, I love being able to tell my patients, before we do this surgery, let's try another option. Let's see if this is right for you, because now they might not have to have surgery at all.
Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. 312-809-5955.
The fentanyl epidemic is killing 400 Americans per day. The new documentary, Fentanyl Death Incorporated, takes a deep dive into this deadly killer.
It is the equivalent of a 747 going down every 2 days.
The 9,000 kilograms that were seized by the HIDTA program last year is sufficient to kill the population of the United States several times over.
Americans age 18 to 45 are the #1 consumers of fentanyl. Our friends, our neighbors, our own family members.
The Surgeon General released the report on the epidemic of loneliness, and that is a real thing.
Where is all of this stuff coming from?
Who's in the fentanyl supply chain? Where are the super labs? How are they using our open borders to cause such devastation?
All roads lead back to China.
The danger is all around us. The time is now.
They're killing our children. And how do we change that?
Don't miss this important documentary report, Fentanyl Death Incorporated. It could save the life of someone you love. Available exclusively at salemnow.com. salemnow.com. It's the show the mainstream media doesn't want you to know about. It's Black and Right with John Anthony on AM 560. The Answer.
Well, here we are once again. Now we got Mitchell from Des Plaines.
Hey there, Jim. How you doing? Happy or Merry Christmas and all that good stuff.
Thank you, sir.
I wanted to let everyone know that you're talking to the trilogy, the holy trilogy of what I call the reaction to WCPT, because Jim, myself, and Verlon would call WCPT and ram would have the counter arguments to all these radical Democrats. And I'll have you know that I broke through enemy lines and I got through last week because that idiot Roosevelt, right? You remember that Roosevelt? He was about as smart as a blueberry muffin. They're still complaining that Russia, was the reason why Hillary Clinton won the election. So this guy came on as a guest and I got on and I said, by the way, where's all these conspiracy theories? What happened to the Russian collusion hoax, right? You told us for 4 years that it was the only reason why Hillary lost is because Russia somehow. Did you ever read the Mueller report? What happened with that? Yeah. And to this day, they deny it. So I want to just basically celebrate Jim and Verlon and Mitchell from Des Plaines being very focused on, what really, because over there, facts do not matter. Do you hear what I'm saying here, Daddy-O?
I hear you.
I don't know what we're yelling about.
Yeah, but you know what, though? I've been banned from calling there because way back when Theo Hardiman and Raza Siddiqui had a show, and I would call in a lot, and one day they just canceled the show. And Raza called me up and said, because of you, they canceled our show. And I used to call in afterwards, and then I became they blocked me. I call from one number, I get through. The next time I call, it wouldn't go through. So I call a different number, go through. So now I don't even bother. I have no idea how they're doing it all.
Because they don't want a counter argument. Because facts matter, according to those losers down the dial, right? Facts don't matter. And the fact is that when you're talking about property taxes, you're talking about an election, and you bring up facts like the Electoral College. Okay, Yep. They still think that Kamala Harris had a successful campaign. Really? She ran a successful campaign? She lost 7 crucial swing states, all of them.
That's right. Well, Daddy-O, thanks for calling. Appreciate it.
My pleasure. Take care.
All right, be good.
If your approach to everyday aches and pains is to mask them, feel better for a few hours only to have the pain return and then repeat the cycle all over again, it's time to try Relief Factor. And the good news is Relief Factor makes that easy. Their 3-week quick start is just $19.95, less than $1 a day. Instead of masking pain, Relief Factor helps eliminate it. How? Well, its unique formula of ingredients helps support your body's response to inflammation. Relief Factor was developed by doctors. It's 100% drug-free, and for so many people, the results are game-changing. even life-changing. So give it a try. Right now, their 3-week quick start is just $19.95. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. See how in a few weeks or even days, Relief Factor can reduce your pain. When you feel better, life is just better. So don't mask pain. Fight it naturally with Relief Factor.
We are the entertainment you love and information that shapes your day. We are your lifeline. We are your companion. We are broadcasters. Text radio to 52886 and let Congress know you depend on your local radio stations. This message furnished by the National Association of Broadcasters.
News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer, Chicago.
Shoot 'em down, some say it's time. I'm Daria Albinger, Fox News. There are some new concerns over those mysterious drone sightings that began last month over New Jersey. And there are also reports that drones were spotted over military bases in Virginia.
Sightings first began the week before Thanksgiving in northern New Jersey near President-elect Trump's Bedminster Golf Club and a military base, but have since spread across the state and northeast region to include Connecticut, New York, and Pennsylvania, sometimes over areas with sensitive military bases and national security facilities. The White House and FBI claim many of the drone sightings are actually manned aircraft, like airplanes or helicopters operating lawfully. State and local officials have said the sightings don't pose a threat, but that's done little to calm nerves, as those same officials call on the federal government to share more information with residents who insist their eyes are not lying to them.
Fox's C.B. Cotton. It's a who's who of the incoming Trump administration attending today's Army-Navy football game in Maryland.
We saw House Speaker Mike Johnson. His son goes to the Naval Academy, as well as the next Senate Majority Leader, John Thune. And I can tell you that Trump spent a lot of time speaking to those two men, reportedly about legislative priorities. We also saw Elon Musk. That was a bit of a surprise, not expecting that one, as well as Senator-elect Dave McCormick. We saw Tulsi Gabbard, which is an Army veteran and Trump's pick for DNI, as well as Pete Hegseth, another Army vet and Trump's pick for Defense Secretary.
Fox Madison Scarpino. ABC News will pay $15 million as part of a settlement with the president-elect. ABC anchor George Stephanopoulos had claimed on air that Trump was, quote, liable for a rape in a civil case. The settlement means both sides avoid a trial. America is listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Tonight, expect occasional rain. It will be breezy this evening. We'll see a nighttime low of 37. Tomorrow, a little rain early in the morning, otherwise low clouds. Tomorrow's high 45. Monday, mostly cloudy, breezy, and mild with periods of morning rain. Then a shower possible for the afternoon. Expect a high Monday of 50. I'm Drew Shannon on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
This is Sean Thompson here to tell you about our 2024 Food for the Poor campaign. We've partnered with Food for the Poor once again to provide life-saving food for thousands of children and their families in Latin America and the Caribbean. We're talking about a part of the world that continues to suffer from the effects of economic destruction and decline, political corruption, instability, gangs, high prices for food. Families are forced to skip meals for days at a time because they simply can't afford to buy food. The only thing standing between these families and starvation is Food for the Poor and their partners. Food for the Poor needs your help. Right now, thanks to a generous match, for one-time gift of $100, you can provide life-saving food for 2 children for an entire year. And it helps their community to gain access to water, or consider a gift of giving $200, which would provide life-saving food for 4 children for the entire year. To make a gift of any amount, just call 844-862-4673 or go to 560theanswer.com. Just simply click on the Give Life banner at the top of the website.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay. Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad Pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Papa Nicholas Coffee, a Chicagoland tradition for over 5 generations, combines heritage and innovation in every cup. Our coffee is locally roasted, hot air roasted, and cold blended in small batches to ensure premium quality. Whether you prefer a 12-ounce bag or a 28-ounce bag, or even the convenience of K-Cups, you'll find Papa Nicholas Coffee at your local retailer. Taste the difference that 5 generations of expertise brings. Choose Papa Nicholas Coffee, because great coffee is our family tradition. Visit online at papanicholas.com. That's papanicholas.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
AM 560, The Answer. Prepare to have your mind opened. The lies of the mainstream media are about to be exposed, and the hypocrisy of the left is about to be revealed. This is a revolution in how you think about politics, race, and culture. You've tuned into Black and Right with John Anthony on AM 560, The Answer.
I'm coming in hot. Coming in hot, just like the fajita. I write what I live.
Well, everybody, welcome to the second hour of this show. This hour, we're going to be talking about COVID and some of the reactions that occurred with people with the vaccine jabs and a lot of the misinformation that was happening. And on the live line, we have Dr. Scott Jensen. Well, Scott, this is Tim Walz's theme song for Minnesota. Burn, baby, burn. Anyways, Scott, thanks for calling in. It turns out, in talking with Dr. Jensen, he actually went to dental school for a year, and he went to ministry, and later he went into medicine. But Dr. Jensen ran for governor against Tim Walz, and Dr. Jensen, just like Robert Malone and a whole bunch of other doctors and people of knowledge, were trying to warn the world that how they were treating COVID was not the correct way to do things. For example, Dr. Zelenko in New York cured a lot of people with ivermectin and hydroxychloroquine and things, and all of a sudden, all that became, fake news. So, Dr. Jensen, welcome to the show.
Well, Jim, thanks for having me on, and it's sort of fun to hear you mention Dr. Zelenko, because before he passed, Zev and I got a chance to do his podcast together, and he was one courageous man.
Yeah, he did some good work, absolutely. So tell us what happened with you and your medical license. They wanted to threaten it because you were spreading disinformation or whatever. Tell us a story about what they did and what's going on now.
At the time, I was in the Senate, and I had no intention of being any kind of a big-time whistleblower. I simply raised my hand when I got an email from the Department of Health as a practicing family physician that they were going to reveal some revisions in terms of how death certificates should be done. And this was, from my perspective, unheard of. And I'd never seen that in 30 years of practicing medicine. So I basically made a comment on a news program that I don't think that Minnesotans would really appreciate the fact that we're seeing a unilateral change take place that would undoubtedly have the effect of increasing the number of COVID cases probably beyond what it should be. And instead of that being received from the Department of Health in a way that I had anticipated, all of a sudden I was being blackballed. And ultimately my license was investigated 6 different times, and I was accused of being reckless and a variety of other things. And the fact is, none of the complaints that were submitted against me to the Minnesota Board of Medical Practice ever came from any patients of mine. It was all politically motivated. And so ultimately I was under that dark cloud of an investigation for 2 or 3 years. And then finally we ended up getting exonerated of everything. But at that time, the election was already over, and during the election, we had Tim Walz, the incumbent governor, making disparaging remarks on social media, et cetera, saying, well, what kind of a candidate can Dr. Scott Jensen be for governor if he's being investigated repeatedly by the Board of Medical Practice? And, Jim, this was on top of the fact that in 2016, I had been named the Family Doctor of the Year for the entire state of Minnesota. So I really went from sort of a remarkably flattering award to all of a sudden becoming the most investigated physician in Minnesota.
Well, that was the whole problem with this whole COVID thing. I smelled a rat from the beginning. When I was in dental school, we graduated in 79. Back then, HIV was just 3 letters in the alphabet. And then, of course, AIDS started becoming known. And as soon as it became associated with gay guys, all of a sudden, no, it's discrimination. You can't talk about that. Well, if you're referring a patient that's got a certain condition, it doesn't matter what that condition is. If they have a problem, it's got to be communicated if you're dealing with other practitioners. And this whole thing just became, awful. And I saw the same type of activity, especially with the COVID vaccines and all this stuff and not testing it. The whole thing, to me, is criminal. So how about what you've done with Dr. Malone and everybody else?
Well, I was just with Robert for the last 3 days out in Connecticut, and it was a very spirited retreat. And our concern is that right now the ingredients are in place for America to really pivot and move in a direction that's far healthier for our society and for our democracy. But I think many of us are concerned that the fact is we don't dare lose the momentum. Robert Kennedy, regardless of whether or not you agree with him on all things, is positioned to really make a difference and to say, hold it, we're going to have data-driven hearings and we're going to dig into this. And we're not going to have a single narrative that prevails over all others, regardless of whether or not it's supported by science or not. And I think it's really important. So many of us are trying to help Robert Kennedy indeed successfully get confirmed by the Senate. And that's what we're hoping for.
Well, I hope that does occur. Like I said before you called in, there's the war on natural gas stoves and all these things. And all these politicians need to take chemistry and physiology and biology before they vote on these things because they don't know what they're talking about.
Well, part of the problem, I think, is that I think politicians, when they get elected, they sort of make an assumption that their IQ goes up. And frankly, I think they're at risk for it dropping down because I think you get big-headed and sometimes you boldly go where you think you should go, not because you have any data or even science. And I think once you get elected, you really need to find people that you can tap on the shoulder and say, hey, I don't know much about this, and I could use some help. What should we be doing about gas stoves? What should we be doing about electric vehicles? What should we be doing about titanium batteries? But I don't think that happens. And because of that, I think we oftentimes find people with very little subject matter expertise making decisions on things that they don't really have any particular clue about.
Well, and that's the problem. That's why, I tell people, I save $200 a month now because I shut off my cable subscription for both my home and my office. Because stuff that they talk about is garbage, and that's why, the first hour we had some of these think tank people on talk about what they do with their activities. Heartland Institute, and there's a bunch of them. I mean, I only did 3, but there's a ton of people, and these people need to be supported. So since you got exonerated, so to speak, what are you doing to kind of get retribution, if I can ask?
That's a great question. Bottom line is we decided it's time to go on the offense. So I sued the Attorney General in Minnesota as well as the Minnesota Board of Medical Practice. And the Attorney General's case was settled about 6 to 8 months ago, I believe. And we basically prevailed in that. And the Attorney General said, I've given you the documents I'm going to give you, and that's it. And we basically came back and said, no, you haven't given us what we want, and you're going to give us more. And the judge ruled in our favor. So, indeed, the Attorney General of Minnesota has had to fork over several hundred pages of documents, some of which they had no intention of giving to us. So we were very pleased with that result. Now we're still in front of the federal district court regarding the Minnesota Board of Medical Practice. And in regards to that, part of the problem is that we're being told by the judge that we don't have standing. And I'm no lawyer, but standing means that you've been harmed and that the person you're suing is responsible for the harm, and that if the court would rule in your favor, that you would have, if you will, the problem resolved or taken care of. And all three of those facts have been met in our case, but they're still saying we may not have standing. And I would say we have been harmed, and I would say that
absolutely.
It was because of the Minnesota Board of Medical Practice. And I would also say that if the court would rule in our favor, that would stop the Minnesota Board of Medical Practice from doing this again or doing it to someone else. And that really matters.
Absolutely. That's absolutely the case. Absolutely. A false accusation is not good. I mean, look what they tried to do to Trump.
I think it has, Jim, I think that the thing is it has such a chilling effect on free speech. And when that happens, it's easy to forget that you're not just censoring the dentist or the physician or the nurse or whoever. You're censoring everything downstream too. You're not letting me tell people, listen, this is what we're seeing in terms of data regarding the vaccine or regarding transmissibility or what your antibody levels might reflect. Those are the kinds of things that we're being stopped from sharing with our patients. And frankly, I think whether it's you or me or someone else getting censored, I think what we need the public to realize is that if they're doing it to me,
you can do it to anybody else. That's right.
Can
you hold on? How much more time do you have tonight before you have to go?
I've got about 20 more minutes.
All right, good. So hang on, and we'll catch you in a few more minutes.
Sounds good.
Thank you.
Dr. Sebastian Gorka isn't surprised at what we're seeing.
With regards to the pardon that was issued at the weekend, a refrain I keep hearing in the mainstream media is, well, every father would do this for their son. We've been told for how long? By the man himself that I will not pardon my son, and I had no knowledge of his business dealings. Truly, truly shameful.
America First with Dr. Sebastian Gorka. Afternoons at 3, right before Sean Thompson at 4 on AM 560. The Answer.
Spice up your Christmas with Balance of Nature's Fiber and Spice Supplement. Stir our Fiber and Spice Supplement into a glass of water with a splash of chilled apple juice to craft an amazing cider. Balance of Nature's Fiber and Spice Supplement is made with whole fiber and 12 aromatic spices like cinnamon, cloves, and nutmeg. Whether you're gathered around the Christmas tree, toasting with friends, or enjoying a quiet moment by the fireplace, our Fiber and Spice Supplement welcomes every moment with its comforting embrace. As we approach this special time of year, spice up your Christmas and add the Fiber and Spice Supplement to your Christmas list. Cheers to a season filled with joy and flavorful celebrations. Merry Christmas! This season, be part of the cheer and save big with our exclusive Christmas deal. Go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set and get this exclusive Christmas offer by using discount code Chicago.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, Doctors Economos, Gabe Alice, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidiscipline practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
Life takes a toll on our bodies. No way around it. Whether it's sitting hours on end at your computer or working a physical job, over time your body pays the price. There is, however, an effective way to turn back the clock on pain, Relief Factor. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor helps support your body's response to inflammation. The difference? Instead of masking pain, Relief Factor helps eliminate it for good. And it's 100% drug-free. If the pains that come with living a full life are affecting you, do as so many others have. Turn back the clock on pain with Relief Factor. Their 3-week quick start is just $19.95, less than $1 a day. When you feel good, it's amazing how much more you get out of life. So visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. Try it for only $19.95. While we can't stop aging, not yet, we can stop pain. Turn back the clock with Relief Factor.
Let's get it to him, baby girl. Hey. That's right.
Black and Right continues on AM 560. Once again, here's John Anthony.
Well, Dr. Scott, great conversation. So what do you think the outcome is going to be as far as the rest of your pursuits? And what are you going to get any monetary stuff, or you just want to kind of set things so they can't screw people again?
We're optimistic. We think that the Supreme Court has already intimated that a line exists between free speech and professional conduct. And there's no question the Minnesota Board of Medical Practice has the right to exercise jurisdiction over my professional conduct insofar as how I care for patients in the office. But if I'm giving a speech on the Senate floor or on a campaign to be the next governor of Minnesota, I have to have the opportunity to enjoy my First Amendment rights of free speech just as any other citizen would. The notion that a health professional such as you or I cannot say what we have to say, even on a show like this, for you to potentially have your voice squelched hurts thousands and thousands of people. And I really think that your role now is more important than ever because there's a tendency for people to forget. And we cannot afford to forget what we've lived through. And we need to make sure that this never happens again. That's one of the huge elements of the conversations I'm having with people around the country and actually around the globe, is that we need to make certain that the people who did some of these policies, made some of these policies, put forth some of the ridiculousness, are held accountable. If you remember, Tony Fauci at one point in time had been asked about, well, what level of herd immunity are we going to need to get to in order to beat this COVID? And he said, well, 55 or 60%. Then he said 65 or 70. And then he said 75. And he sounded like an auctioneer. Right. And when he was confronted about that, he said, well, I didn't think that people could handle the truth or something to that effect.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like that sounds like a line from a movie, not the way potentially one of the lead voices across the world is dispatching information for billions of people. And yet this is what he did. And then when he was quizzed in front of congressional hearings regarding gain of function, he clearly danced around it. And as far as I'm concerned, he was guilty of prevarication. I think that he lied, saying
Absolutely.
that he was not involved in gain of function.
That's why they're talking about having a preemptive pardon for him and some of these other criminals. I don't know if that's legal, but you hear that.
Well, I think they're going to think about it. I think they're thinking about it right now because I think Tony Fauci should be in trouble. I think that what he did was unconscionable.
Yeah.
And I think that, for me, one of the things that was really key was when Robert Redfield was no longer the head of the CDC. And when he was done with that role, he came out and he said, I can no longer believe that the beginning of the COVID-19 was in fact a natural reassortment of RNA in nature. He said, I think that indeed this probably was a lab leak. That was a huge confession from Robert Redfield, basically alerting the Department of Energy as well as the FBI. And they came out afterwards and said they agreed. So we now have very reputable sources saying this was not a natural reassortment in a wet market. This was gain-of-function research, illegally done, supposedly not being funded by the American taxpayer, but in fact, it was being funded by the American taxpayer.
Yeah, Rand Paul spoke about that quite a bit. If like you say, he was dancing
Rand
around.
Paul has been a rock star.
Oh, he's great, yeah. But I remember Dr. Fauci. I don't think we could ever shake hands again.
Oh, would you remember him being at the baseball game? He
Yep,
wasn't
without a
wearing
mask on. Yep, I saw that.
Yeah, and then he was confronted about that, and he said, "Well, I was getting a drink of water." Now he's lying again. He wasn't getting any drink of water.
Yeah.
They watched him for several minutes.
Yeah.
He was violating the rules that he was making everybody else abide by. It was, the rules are for thee, but not for me. We saw the same thing with Gavin Newsom out of California.
Yep.
Draconian policies in place. Don't you dare go out. We've got snitch lines. We're going to do everything we have to come down on you. And he's having a swanky dinner with a dozen people. They're right next to each other. There's no mask at all. They're literally scoffing at Americans.
Exactly. Arrogant SOBs. Yeah, it was just the whole thing. Like here in Illinois, we have our rotund governor. He's got, there was people saw him in restaurants up in Wisconsin where they would have all the windows taped shut so he could go inside and enjoy himself. And he would, fly his family down to Florida and things like this. These people are all hypocrites, and that's why the press, again, I hate them. The mainstream media is awful, and that's why part of what I'm doing today is focusing on alternate sources of information, because these people do their homework.
Well, and if I could make a comment about mainstream media, what we're seeing is the metastatic spewing of malicious misinformation. And they frequently in the media will say, this theory has been debunked, or this is ludicrous, or this is false. And I'm reading this, I'm saying, says who? And literally a week later, we'll see that they were absolutely wrong. And what really was troublesome for a lot of Americans is the way in which things were synchronized. You'd all of a sudden see numerous networks using the same words. You'd see Rachel Maddow leading the charge. Oh, yeah. And they'd be, this is an epidemic of the unvaccinated. And all of a sudden, that phrase would go around the globe. And it was literally obvious to most people that someone had said, this is the message we want out there. Someone had decided this is a narrative that we want next. Who that someone is, I think we can all sort of make our own conjectures. But the bottom line is we saw mainstream media play a role. And then we saw big tech with Facebook and, and Twitter prior to Elon Musk purchasing it.
Exactly.
It's interesting to me that we're seeing the mainstream media sort of face off against Musk, because Elon Musk has dared to have Twitter now become X and literally become a place of open discussion in the public square without censorship.
Yeah.
This is incredibly important. And I think in this last election, a month and a half ago, I think that the role of a truly public square discussion provided tremendous benefit to President-elect Donald Trump.
Well, absolutely. As a matter of fact, I'm holding up here, I mentioned this before, Judicial Watch did this COVID-19 20-page report where they go into details, about all the credits that Facebook was given to the federal government so they could publish garbage. Just awful.
When I was running for governor, Facebook put us in Facebook jail because some of our Facebook Live videos were too hard-hitting. And it was just remarkable. In fact, I had one just a week and a half ago that on TikTok, I was advised that I had violated community standards. And that was a video I had done indicating that I don't buy the idea that 70% of Americans over the age of 60 have hypertension. I think that's malarkey. I think that we're using metrics and numbers that Big Pharma is feeding us so that we have more people on more pills.
Yeah, buy more statins.
I said this. I said this, and TikTok came out and said I violated community standards. And I'm thinking, no, I didn't. I didn't talk about COVID vaccinations or any of that stuff. I talked about the fact that our healthcare system is being driven by Big Pharma, and the people are frustrated. And I had one fellow that came in, and he was doing poorly. He was 85 years old, and he was a new patient. And we got talking, and he said he was losing weight. He had no appetite. And I looked at his medicines, and I just did a quick count. I said, well, from my estimation, you're taking about 27 pills a day.
Yeah, stop all that immediately. Yeah, one
And
time
I
I
said,
had
well,
a patient
let's-
like that. She was taking so much stuff. I said, I think you're taking too many meds. You should stop it. She looked at me with horror in her eyes and never saw her again.
Yeah, well, I took him down from 27 to 14 the first visit. 2
Good.
weeks later, we got him down to 8. And about 6 weeks later, he was on 4 or 5 pills a day. His appetite was back. He was gaining weight. His family said, this is amazing. You know, he's literally had a resurrection.
Hey,
And I think that we have that situation facing us virtually every day, you and I.
Absolutely.
and
Listen, my
millions of
friend,
other-
this has been a great time. Our hour's over here, but we're going to have you on again. And this is great information. Thank you very much for calling.
On Monday, January 20th, Donald Trump will be sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. AM 560, The Answer, is throwing a party. Join us for our inauguration celebration on January 20th at Saddle Up Q in Aurora. Enjoy a brunch buffet with AM 560 listeners as we watch the inauguration of President Trump. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/Trump47. That's 560theanswer.com/Trump47.
Fox News, I'm Roger Stern. More on those mysterious drone sightings over New Jersey and now other states. The FBI and Department of Homeland Security telling reporters.
There are confirmed drone sightings over military bases here in New Jersey, but at this point, there's no indication these drones are linked to any criminal activity or foreign actor.
Fox's C.B. Cotton, a New Jersey congressman calling for some of them to be shot down. A cyber attack in Rhode Island, Governor Dan McKee says someone broke into the site that hosts data on people's government benefits.
Data that may include customer personal information, such as names, addresses, dates of birth, and social security numbers.
Governor saying the state responded as soon as it knew of the intrusion. America is listening to Fox News.
The weather is starting to turn to fall, and before you know it, the snow will be flying. Are your tires prepared for the rain and snow? Remke's Garage sells the most popular tire for this Chicago weather, the Toyo Celsius. Why Toyo, you ask? The Toyo Celsius tire has been uniquely engineered to help you specifically navigate Chicago's extreme weather and road conditions. Not only is the tire the most round, minimizing irregular wear, the asymmetric tread design is able to handle the crazy Chicago weather when it starts raining 1 minute, icy the next, and snowing within a few more minutes. Have peace of mind when going down the road that your tires are prepared for the conditions. So, why wait? Stop by Remke's Garage today and let their team inspect your tires and get you on the road with confidence. Visit us at remkesgarage.com. That's remkesgarage.com. REMKES, remkesgarage.com. Remke's Garage, repairing America.
Better is around the corner in 2025. Feeling better, of course, getting rid of joint pain for once and for all. And QC Kinetics is where it's at. Their patients are able to walk up and down the stairs, sit and get back up. They can finally sleep. Wouldn't it be great to feel normal again? And that could be you. So call QC Kinetics now, today. Say goodbye to shoulder, knee, hip, and back pain. Saturday appointments available, no downtime. Just imagine a new year without achy joints. QC Kinetics uses the healing properties of your own body to attack the root cause of your pain. If you've been told surgery is your best or only option, you deserve a second opinion. Call QC Kinetics. The consultation is free, and you can use HSA and FSA dollars. Live your best life in 2025. Get started now. Call 312-809-5955. That's 312-809-5955. QC Kinetics. Call 312-809-5955.
Hi, Mom. Ooh, it's so cold out there. Surprise, I brought you something.
Socks. Oh, Heat Holders Original. Wow, this is so soft and cozy.
Heat holder socks are the warmest. I use them for snow sports and around the farm. I also bought a bunch for my new work site. The other guys were so jealous they all bought them. And the best part is the socks come in 3 levels of warmth. Originals, lights, and ultralights.
Oh, Jill can use the ultralights when dog walking. Oh, boy. I know what everyone is getting for gifts this holiday.
Heat Holders socks are the warmest, and independent lab tests prove they're 7 times warmer than cotton socks. We use a proprietary 3-stage process, advanced insulating yarn, a long loop thermal pile, and brushed on the inside. This process helps trap warm air closer to your skin longer, keeping your feet warm, comfortable, and dry, making Heat Holders the softest, warmest, and most comfortable socks guaranteed. We also have hats, gloves, throws, and so much more. Go to heatholders.com. Use the code HEAT to save 15% off your order. Free shipping for orders over $25. Go to heatholders.com.
It's time for Christmas at Cantini. A time for laughter and joy. A time for cherished moments by coming together with the ones you love. Be awed by twinkling lights. Feel the thrill of gliding on ice. And enjoy the cozy warmth of s'mores by the fire. Cherish the moments together this holiday season at Christmas at Cantini. Get your tickets at Cantini.org. Sponsored by the Robert R. McCormick Foundation.
Papa Nicholas Coffee, a Chicagoland tradition for over 5 generations, combines heritage and innovation in every cup. Our coffee is locally roasted, hot air roasted, and cold blended in small batches to ensure premium quality. Whether you prefer a 12-ounce bag or a 28-ounce bag, or even the convenience of K-Cups, you'll find Papa Nicholas Coffee at your local retailer. Taste the difference that 5 generations of expertise brings. Choose Papa Nicholas Coffee, because great coffee is our family tradition. Visit online at papanicholas.com. That's papanicholas.com.
Back to Black and Right with John Anthony on AM 560. The Answer.
Well, welcome back once again. We have our friend Vince Cavalieri. Vince, thanks for calling in. Vince is a great guy. He's a prolific writer. He did this thing way back then in the early days of COVID. It was a beautiful article that made you want to cry. It was called Stolen Smiles. When it talked about children with these face diapers on and the cruelty and just the awful nature that they went through. So, Vince, thanks for calling in. How's it going out there? And tell us about what's going on with your COVID activities, as we discussed.
Dr. Jim, hey, thanks for that very generous introduction. Congrats on the show and hosting it today. I was listening to a little bit. Glad to hear your guest before, and we're still having these discussions, which are abundantly necessary because the problems haven't gone away for our children. Thanks for the props on the article. You and I have been discussing COVID and the after effects of COVID vaccines and all the above since the very beginning. So you, sir, and the doctor that was just on a moment ago, and some of the people my organization represents, they're heroes in my book. The Ryan Coles, or the Dr. Coles, the Dr. Malones, and even Washington's own, I'll give him a shout out, Dr. Michael Turner, who we represent, all heroes for standing their ground despite being targeted by government, by the media, by big pharma, all the above. So we're still fighting it, Jim. As you know, we're still seeing the after effects, these sudden deaths of individuals, these vaccine injured, we still, many of our Coast Guard and military members haven't been returned to full duty because of their religious right to refuse a vaccine. And so there's a lot still going on, and court rulings are starting to turn in our favor, thankfully, and it's taken a little bit of time, but I do see that there will be a light at the end of this tunnel, and having RFK in charge of HHS is going to be an exciting time for us, and hopefully we can start holding, the Faucis, the Rochelle Walensky's, the Albert Bourlas, the Bill Gates, all these people accountable for crimes against humanity.
Yeah, and maybe Zuckerberg's trying to buy some clemency by giving Trump $1 million.
It's amazing, right? Here he is showing up at Mar-a-Lago ASAP. Everybody's starting to pivot. Now, all of a sudden, they've had the epiphany that they no longer have the power anymore. They no longer have the protection of the incompetent president and his administration. So they all see what's happening. They've suppressed media. They're all, as far as I'm concerned, they're all co-conspirators, and I've written about that as well. And those are all conversations that need to keep happening, because I know you guys talked about the press and their failures and the talking points, and they would get them out early, and every organization except for maybe Fox and Australian Sky News and a few other brave pioneers remained true to the concept of a free and fair press. And so alternative media, just like what we're doing here, Jim, this is where it's at. You know,
Exactly.
You and I are both hosting podcasts, and as far as I'm concerned, we helped get Donald Trump and many other Republicans and the control of the Senate and the House back to Republicans because of our collective efforts.
Absolutely. So what's going on? You were mentioning about the National Guard, the people that were disciplined or something because they wouldn't take the jab. What's going on with that?
Yeah, so I mean, my organization, the Silent, one of the most people know. Just to full disclosure, I'm not a doctor and I'm not a biologist, but I am a police officer. I am who was there since the beginning of COVID. I am a legislator in my community who's been there from the very beginnings of COVID, and I also we also represent those that can't represent themselves, including hundreds of Coast Guard members that were kicked out of the Coast Guard for refusing a vaccine. And the organization is the Silent Majority Foundation, or smf.org. We do all pro bono work. This is all through donations. And again, these folks still have not been made whole. They are still without rank, without job, and thankfully without that poison in their body.
Exactly. Now, Trump said he was going to do something for them. What do you think what'll happen there?
Well, I suspect that the courts are starting to rule in our favor. Like they've tried to run the clock out, and thankfully, I mean, I think this is where divine intervention kicked in, because had they had another 4 years of Biden and the progressive Marxists, they could have run the clock out on a lot of this stuff and just bankrupted a lot of these organizations, destroyed or discredited every individual that came forward. And accountability most likely would not have happened, or if it did, it would have just been in small pieces here and there. But they're in for a reckoning, and they have a right to be scared, because I think that this whole idea of blanket immunity and blanket pardons and for crimes that they're not even accused of yet is pretty damn incredible. And that's the Jeopardy question is, what did the guilty normally do ahead of time, right?
Yeah, cover their bases.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not sure if this is legal, if they can do that or not.
I don't think so either. And again, we're in for a good reset, because take it a little deeper. We depend on organizations like CDC and the NIH. They're supposed to be the gold standards of information, anything regarding disease or drugs or therapeutics within the field of expertise of the overall world health. We contribute billions of dollars of taxpayer dollars every year to these organizations for
Hey, Vince, do me a favor. Hold on for a second. I'll have you up for another segment.
Oh, sure.
Thank you. Appreciate
it.
Balance of Nature supplements. Changing the world, one life at a time.
A lot of times people don't understand what a supplement is. A supplement is in addition to your regular foods. It's really just an incredible formula, and I've been doing nutrients for 43 years. It has a tremendous effect on how I feel, my well-being. I love the way it gives me all my supplements for fruits and vegetables, which I take a lot of anyway. But I find that this gives me that supplement that I was missing before.
Merry Christmas! This season, be part of the cheer and save big with our exclusive Christmas deal. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping and our money-back guarantee. That's 1-800-246-8751. Don't miss out. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive Christmas offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
The fentanyl epidemic is killing 400 Americans per day. The new documentary, Fentanyl Death Incorporated, takes a deep dive into this deadly killer.
It is the equivalent of a 747 going down every 2 days.
The 9,000 kilograms that were seized by the HIDTA program last year is sufficient to kill the population of the United States several times over.
Americans age 18 to 45 are the #1 consumers of fentanyl. Our friends, our neighbors, our own family members.
The Surgeon General released the report on the epidemic of loneliness, and that is a real thing.
Where is all of this stuff coming from?
Who's in the fentanyl supply chain? Where are the super labs? How are they using our open borders to cause such devastation?
All roads lead back to China.
The danger is all around us. The time is now.
They're killing our children. And how do we change that?
Don't miss this important documentary report, Fentanyl, Death Incorporated. It could save the life of someone you love. Available exclusively at salemnow.com. salemnow.com.
If your approach to everyday aches and pains is to mask them, feel better for a few hours only to have the pain return and then repeat the cycle all over again, it's time to try Relief Factor. And the good news is Relief Factor makes that easy. Their 3-week quick start is just $19.95, less than $1 a day. Instead of masking pain, Relief Factor helps eliminate it. How? Well, its unique formula of ingredients helps support your body's response to inflammation. Relief Factor was developed by doctors. It's 100% drug-free, and for so many people, the results are game-changing, even life-changing. So give it a try. Right now, their 3-week quick start is just $19.95. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. See how in a few weeks or even days, Relief Factor can reduce your pain. When you feel better, life is just better. So don't mask pain. Fight it naturally with Relief Factor.
This is Black and Right with John Anthony on AM 560. The Answer.
Okay, Vince, we're back in the saddle again. So what do you think is going to happen with these people at the National Guard? Do you think, first of all, how many people were affected by this?
So we have hundreds that we represent, and there's numerous other organizations as well. If you go across the country, we're just a small nonprofit organization. We're one of probably, I would say, hundreds, if not thousands, representing different pockets of different parts of the country. So at some point, they will be made whole. It's going to take a little time, but their families, in the meantime, have to go through all this. And we're not even talking about the economic impact of it, right? In Washington State alone, and you and I talk about Washington and Illinois, very, very similar with the progressivism and the control that the progressives have at every level of government. 27% of all of our small businesses closed in that 3-year period of COVID. 1/3. They destroyed families. They destroyed dreams. They redistributed wealth in some hyper-focused DEI quasi-reparation scheme or scam. And again, they did this all. They colluded. And I was talking earlier about the CDC and NIH that colluded with Big Pharma to really just continue pumping this stuff so they can sell their products, their vaccines, their remdesivir, when we knew things like hydroxychloroquine and ivermectin worked. And many of those doctors that we represent now, including Dr. Michael Turner, who's a very pioneer, very brave man. I encourage people to check him out. He's still being persecuted by the state of Washington, and the attorney general that is persecuting and prosecuting him is now the governor of Washington. So you see how deep this goes, and it's still going to take some time, and it's important we keep talking about it and making sure that the public becomes aware, because they're still pumping these vaccines into 6-month-old children.
Oh, I know, it's horrible. Despite
knowing the heart issues, the blood clotting issues that still exist. And so it's really shameful. And again, I'm excited about a Trump administration and RFK in charge of health. I think we're definitely going to pull the veil, and we're going to see who's behind the curtain here, and hopefully send some people to prison for a very long time.
Well, absolutely. Also because of the exposure now, like when Trump has his interview with Rogan, how many millions of people saw this? And that's the beauty of the internet now. And thank goodness that Musk did buy Twitter, because the things that they're exposing, just like I was saying before, Judicial Watch has a very nice 20-page report on COVID. And one of the things they talk about, these investigators saying they're demonstrating that the vaccine safety officials were under pressure to rapidly approve these COVID vaccines, despite the evidence they were seeing that COVID injections caused myocarditis in young men and everything else. So this is absolutely the case. We got to keep the pressure on. How much more time you got, Vince?
As long as you need. I got another 15, 20 minutes.
All right. Well, we got our friend Mark, man on the street. Mark, come on join the conversation.
Hi, Mark.
Can you put Mark on? He's on hold.
Hello.
Mark, how are you? This is Vince Cavallari.
Hello. Good to
Mark.
hear you. Mark Wormler, man on the street. Great segment, great show today. Hey, real quick, I just wanted to announce I'm going to Phoenix on Thursday for American Fest. It's amfest.com. And this is what we're going to be talking about out there. Donald Trump is going to be there. It's going to be a big appearance for him at Charlie Kirk's event with Turning Point USA. And just some of the people speaking, it's going to be Steve Bannon, Matt Gaetz, Riley Gaines, Benny Johnson, Matt Walsh is going to be there. Steve Bannon is going to be doing the show. Tom Holman is going to be there. He was in Chicago this week for a great event. So I'll be out there Thursday, the 19th to the 22nd. And if anyone wants to come out and join me, it's a very low expense event. And both you guys should come out. What do you guys think? You want to join me in Phoenix next week?
Well, there's a word for me called work. I was on vacation a while ago, so I'm going to stay home and put my nose to the grindstone. But I'll be there with you in spirit.
And as fun as that sounds, I'll be in Mexico putting my feet up, hopefully enjoying some fine tequila.
There you go. Well, both of you guys would be in warmer climates. But I was just down in the Dominican Republic about 2 weeks ago. And what's going on in the DR is phenomenal. All the construction going on there, people are happy. You go down the street, people are smiling at you. You know, it's wonderful what's going on. And the other side of the island is Haiti, and there's nothing going on there. You know, it's such a big contrast between two different places on one island.
It's amazing though. Like let's take America for instance, right? President-elect Trump has not even been sworn in as of yet, and don't you feel that the worm has turned? That the public now has hope. People are now feeling better about things. Stock market's up. You know, people want to go back to work. People have an idea that things are going to get better once we throw these bums out in their ear.
Absolutely. In fact, you know, the latest thing too is Biden selling all the parts for the border wall, put them on an auction and stuff. It's just these people are just they're just awful. And speaking of Haiti, you know, the Clinton Foundation was supposed to help people after the earthquake 2010. What did they do? Nothing. They took a big dump and they left the room. That's who these people
You think
are.
that'll be investigated? Do you think Donald Trump will investigate that?
As far as what you mean, the border wall thing, or what Clinton's did in
No,
Haiti?
that their whole thing where they took the money and didn't help anybody.
Well, he didn't do that the first time, so I don't think so.
All right, well, follow me on Twitter.
For the
Mark.
courts, for the Dems.
Yep. Okay, hang on there, Vince. Appreciate it.
This is Sean Thompson. When you go on vacation, does it make sense to have somebody else pack for you? Of course not. The same can be said for your retirement. Your 401k could be packed with things you don't know about or even need. If you're close to retirement, but you don't have a plan customized to your goals, it's like kind of taking a 30-year vacation with no idea what's in the suitcase. Sounds like a stressful way to begin what should be a relaxing time. Tom Fortino at Alpha Wealth Group can help you unpack your savings and build a plan to reduce future taxes, address Social Security and health care, and a whole lot more, all with a clear, defined income strategy. Call the Alpha Wealth Group at 630-934-1855. Ask for the complimentary retirement plan. That's 630-934-1855 or online at alphawealthgroup.com. And listen to the Alpha Wealth Hour Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. right here on AM 560.
Advisory services through Retirement Wealth Advisors, LLC, and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Alpha Wealth Group, licensed in Illinois.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity's stolen, their U.S.-based restoration specialists will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code CLAY. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Your pet isn't just a pet, they're part of your family. Most of the pet food on the market is cooked at high temperatures, which kills nutrients. A scoop of Dynavite is a 3-in-1 daily supplement, adding back key nutrients to your pup's health. Try Dynavite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio. That's dinovite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dinovite.
This is Black and Right with John Anthony on AM 560. The Answer.
What's up, man? So, Vince, thanks again for calling it. Appreciate it. And we got another 4 minutes so we can discuss a few more issues. How did it go with those referendum we discussed? You said some were good and some weren't so good. What happened with all that?
Yeah, well, we did have several referendums in Washington state, several initiatives that the voters did not pass, unfortunately. We tried to prevent a tax on wages here, a state wage tax, several other things that we've discussed, parents' rights bill and education. We tried to do things like that. It's unfortunate the way the system works here in Washington. It's very deceiving. You have to approve something to reject it, if that makes sense, right? So if an initiative or a referendum is on the bill, once you approve it, or reject it, if you believe that you understand the issue enough that you don't like it, most people in their right minds will go there and press reject or check the reject box when they have to approve it to get it rejected. So it's deceiving process here in Washington state is where I'm going with all that. So it went down in flames, unfortunately, and but we're still trying. I just think that we just haven't suffered enough. Washington, Illinois, we're like alcoholics. We haven't hit rock bottom yet, so they're not going to seek or find help at this point.
Yeah, that's what I say when I talk to these people on Urban Talk Radio. You know, you keep on complaining, and every time you go to the restaurant, you keep getting sick. What do you see? Why do you go back to the same place for? And until they change their voting patterns, nothing's going to change. And of course, we have a good contrast here to our friends of the East, Indiana. You know, they just passed a law where your property tax cannot go up by more than 1% a year. They did away with their state income tax, or they're going to slowly, just like Tennessee. You know, and it's such a big contrast. And unfortunately, people are just stuck in some of their problems, or else the media they listen to the media that doesn't tell them the truth.
So we have the 1% rule here too, but then I'm quite sure that they have the caveat to that, which is what they call bank capacity. And those that don't understand what bank capacity is that every time they don't raise taxes within a biennium budget, they get to take that fictitious number and bank it. So for instance, my city where I govern, our legislators, or several of them, tried to raise taxes 12% on property just a couple of weeks ago, and utilizing bank capacity, which is a way to circumvent the state law of 1%. So I'm sure that exists there. Thankfully, it went down 4-3. We were able to pull one Democrat over who understood that probably her reelection campaign would have went a little sideways had she acquiesced to the massive increase.
Yeah, I mean, it's just awful, you know. And here in Chicago, they always talk about black generational wealth. Well, I says, you know what? The color that's more important than black is the color of green, as in Ben Franklin's. Because if you have more in your pocket, that's your empowerment. But we have all these layers of government. It's like feeding a fat pig. You know, just people got to wake up.
Yeah, and you have one of the worst mayors on the planet, Brandon Johnson. And you know I've written about him. I speak about him a lot. I mean, what a bum this guy is. And he's going to fight the administration. While the citizens of Chicago and the inner city are suffering day in and day out from poverty and violence and addiction, he's going to utilize those dollars to protect illegal immigrants from being deported by Immigration Customs Enforcement. Way to go, Brandon Johnson. Another milestone for stupidity.
I couldn't have said any better. But I think a lot of people are waking up, though. Like in the west side of Chicago, there was this facility that they wanted to take away from the kids for after school, football practice and cheerleading, et cetera, and give it to the migrants. And the people got up and said, nope. And so they didn't do it. And I think you're seeing a lot of tide changing now. It'll take maybe a few more election cycles, but hopefully this will happen.
It will, and we've seen that at the federal level at this point, right? So
Right.
The cities like Chicago, New York, Seattle, we're like I said, we haven't hit rock bottom yet, Jim.
Well, Vince, thank you. You're a great American. You're a great author, and it's always a pleasure talking to you. Appreciate your call.
You too, my brother. Check me out at Heartland Journal.
All right, everybody, check it out. Talk to you soon.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app. Or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
The questions drone on. I'm Roger Stern, Fox News. Federal agencies still unsure who's behind drones spotted around the Northeast, but they say there's still no evidence of any risk to the public. Here's Fox's Jared Halpern.
An official with the FBI says without a doubt there have been drones flying over New Jersey, but many of those reported sightings are believed to be manned aircraft based on flight patterns consistent with nearby airports. The Department of Homeland Security says there is no evidence of a public safety threat, foreign involvement, or that drones are being sent from offshore. Sightings of drones have been confirmed near military installations on the East Coast, but officials say incursions have happened previously. Operating drones is legal in most of the United States, with exceptions to local, state, and federal restricted airspace and altitude limits. In Washington, Jared Halpern, Fox News.
The South Korean parliament has voted to impeach the president over his declaration of martial law. Here's Fox's Stephanie Bennett.
The National Assembly passed this motion 204 to 85. Now, of course, this was the second impeachment vote after the ruling party leaders. They boycotted the first one that was last Saturday. Now, today, thousands gathered in the Capitol to celebrate after hearing this news. The impeachment motion alleged President Yoon committed rebellion that hurts peace in the Republic of Korea by staging a series of riots. They also say Yoon's mobilization of military and police forces threatened the National Assembly and the public, and that his martial law decree was aimed at disturbing the Constitution. Well, all presidential powers and duties, they will now be handed over to the Prime Minister.
The president has since apologized, claiming his decision was rushed. Secret Service says a woman's been arrested after trying to scale a temporary fence near the White House. President Biden was inside. Agents say he was never in any danger. America is listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Occasional rain expected for tonight. It'll be breezy this evening with a low of 37. A little early morning rain tomorrow. Otherwise, low clouds. We'll see a high tomorrow of 45. Mostly cloudy skies as we start the new week Monday. It'll be breezy and mild with periods of rain in the morning, then a shower possible for the afternoon. Monday, we'll see a high of 50. I'm Drew Shannon on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
If your approach to everyday aches and pains is to mask them, feel better for a few hours only to have the pain return and then repeat the cycle all over again, it's time to try Relief Factor. And the good news is Relief Factor makes that easy. Their 3-week quick start is just $19.95, less than $1 a day. Instead of masking pain, Relief Factor helps eliminate it. How? Well, its unique formula of ingredients helps support your body's response to inflammation. Relief Factor was developed by doctors. It's 100% drug-free. And for so many people, the results are game-changing, even life-changing. So give it a try. Right now, their 3-week quick start is just $19.95. Go to ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. See how in a few weeks or even days, Relief Factor can reduce your pain. When you feel better, life is just better. So don't mask pain. Fight it naturally with Relief Factor.
If you own or run a business and you listen to AM 560, you might not realize that the conservative programming that you enjoy is supported by advertisers. Our loyal listeners love to do business with the advertisers they hear every day on AM 560. Now, it probably won't surprise you that there are some businesses who avoid advertising with us because they don't like what we do here. And that's okay, because our audience wants to support businesses that support what we do and think like we think. We would love to have you join the list of successful companies who are already reaching new, like-minded customers. Most AM 560 advertisers have been here for years for one simple reason: they get results. Join our efforts to make a difference in the lives of our listeners who are passionate about supporting our great family of AM 560 advertisers. To learn more, just visit 560theanswer.com/advertise. That's 560theanswer.com/advertise.
Papa Nicholas Coffee, a Chicagoland tradition for over 5 generations, combines heritage and innovation in every cup. Our coffee is locally roasted, hot air roasted, and cold blended in small batches to ensure premium quality. Whether you prefer a 12-ounce bag or a 28-ounce bag, or even the convenience of K-Cups, you'll find Papa Nicholas Coffee at your local retailer. Taste the difference that 5 generations of expertise brings. Choose Papa Nicholas Coffee, because great coffee is our family tradition. Visit online at papanicholas.com. That's papanicholas.com.
Portions of the following show may be pre-recorded.
AM 560, The Answer. Prepare to have your mind opened. The lies of the mainstream media are about to be exposed, and the hypocrisy of the left is about to be revealed. This is a revolution in how you think about politics, race, and culture. You've tuned into Black and Right with John Anthony on AM 560, The Answer.
I'm coming in hot.
Well, welcome back to the last hour of Black and Right Radio, and I'm glad to be here. It's an honor, my first time, and now we have Kelvin on the phone from Springfield. Kelvin, how are you? Thanks for calling.
By the way, good job.
Hello.
I had a quick comment. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. And you're doing a great job on the show, man.
Well, I'm just second fiddle to John Anthony, but I try.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring up a point. You know, we keep separating things by race. And, you know, when you're mentioning blacks and sometimes it's like, well, blacks are disproportionately and the blacks are struggling. But I just wanted to bring some statistics, you know, because sometimes we're not digging deep enough. And we talk about Trump, you know, now Trump lost Illinois by what, 500,000 votes? And that, to me, was amazing, you know. That was amazing. You know, that says we're getting closer. But Chicago is 1/3 black, 1/3 Hispanic, 1/3 white.
Right.
And we never really talk about, you know, the aldermen. We never talk about their representatives because we keep playing our country as a democracy where it's actually a constitutional republic. And these neighborhoods say, okay, they're struggling, but yet what are their leaders doing? What are their reps doing? Can they not get access to the finances? You know, are they not looking out? Are they, you know, being bought by the unions or by the teachers' unions?
Oh, that's a big problem in Chicago.
Mm-hmm. Because I think we as citizens, that's what we have to look at, you know. And I'll say this real quick, and then I'll get out your hair.
No, that's right. It's a good call. Well, yeah. See, I talk a lot on Urban Talk Radio, and they're always talking about these things, but they keep electing the same people that don't serve them. Now, one good alderman in Chicago is Ray Lopez. He's a great guy. I know him a little bit, and he's got his head on his shoulders. And also, I also say, you know, if Willie Wilson would have been elected mayor instead of Lightfoot, Chicago would be a much different place today, because during the Summer of Love, with all the riots and all those COVID things that was going on, the violence, I think he would not have tolerated it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. See, and I can use Springfield, and I'm probably going to offend some people, but you know, they said that blacks are now the imposters and the mascots for everything, and they're fundraisers. Let's look at some numbers here, just in Springfield alone, right? It's 114,264 people in Springfield, of which 20% is black, which gives you roughly around 21,000. And, you know, the poverty rate in Springfield is 19 to 20%. So let's just say, and I know this is not true, but let's just say all of these people are black. which 20% of the 21,000 gives you about 4,144 people in poverty. But if you look at the remaining 17,000 that's in that population of blacks, the median income is $65,000 a year. They own businesses. They work for the state. They work for Horace Mann. They work for HSHS. They work for Memorial Health. So in Springfield, it's kind of feast or famine. Either, you know, we're the only group of people that they take the minority of the minority and then pass policies and then start funding things, and then the money never make it to the 4,000, while the people who are successful get completely ignored, or you lose your pass to the barbecue. So I think we as a people, we need to start looking deeply into these nonprofits, because those are the areas in which they, you know, exploit money from. And then when you start looking at demographics, whether it be Chicago, whether it be Springfield, whether it be anywhere, when you start talking black, get down into that community and find, you know, one, the representative, and then find the community leaders. Because community leaders like myself, I never get invited to forums. You know, I never get invited to, you know, these community events where we're supposedly helping people, because I usually come with numbers. And I'm like, okay, this is a scam. And as a black man, I'm kind of tired of being the mascot here in Illinois of everything bad, because it's a hustle. You know.
Well, and like I said, when people up here, you know, complain about things, well, you know, you're voting for the same people that don't serve you. And until your voting pattern changes, don't expect things to change. You know, I often say on black radio, you know, the color that's more important than black or white is the color of green, as in Ben Franklin's. As a matter of fact, about 2 weeks ago, I was down for the Southland Black Chamber of Commerce event, and, you know, I spoke a little bit, and I said, you know what, I appreciate everybody in business, but look at what's going on in Illinois versus, for example, in Indiana. You know, you go up and down Indianapolis Boulevard in, you know, Hammond and those places right by Chicago, you know, Griffith, the stores are bustling. You go over to the other side, Chicago Heights, Fort Heights, Sauk Village, what do you see? Nothing but vast wastelands of nothing. There's nothing there. The buildings all been torn down. Commercial real estate, like I was saying before, in Cook County is a job killer, because when you have a big store, your taxes are like, you know, $100,000. The same building over in Indiana is going to be like 20 or 30. Plus in Chicago, the south sides, the south and west suburbs, or south and west side, they're always complaining we have these deserts. Well, a lot of the problem too, stores open up and people steal stuff, so you cannot stay open. It's real awful. But man, I appreciate your call, and we got some other callers, and thank you for calling. Appreciate it, man.
All right, thank you.
Good. My pleasure. Now next we have Glenn from Kenosha. Glenn, how are you? Hello? Yep. Well, I guess we have Craig. I guess.
Oh, hey, Jim.
Hey, how are you? Thanks for calling in.
I'm doing well. Appreciate your program and the discussion you're having there. But I got a different take on this whole issue with regard to how many people vote Democrat, and whether it be Chicago here and other places. The numbers are not as big as what they're saying, and the reason and I think it's by a lot, and it's because of all the cheating. The Democrat areas, they've been cheating for over 50 years. It goes back to when now I'm a senior citizen, but when I was a young guy and my whole family, they were all Democrat. And it's a whole different Democrat party. These are leftists now. There's no Democrat party. It's
Exactly.
leftists. They call themselves Democrats. But they've got 100% control. They've got no fear. They got it all figured out. Now, I guess when they can't do something because it's too big to rig or something like that, but for the most part, like with the mayors and all that stuff, but even when some of these other smaller races, I think it's the same thing like with Kerry Lake, they can cheat and basically cheat a person out of it, just like Trump was cheated out, at that one point.
Yep.
The cheating is significant, and my point is this. I think there's a heck of a lot more people that actually have their heads screwed on straight. Yeah, there's people out there that are dumber than rocks with regard to still voting for leftists and that, and they're just kind of like in line like robots behind. But with my family and friends that we're all Democrats, they're not. We all vote voted for Trump. We're all voting Republican now. I mean, I know all of these people. We were all Democrats, and we're not anymore. And
Exactly.
I was one of the first, but some of these guys were late to the party. You know?
Well, as long as it came around. I mean, you could look at some of those old speeches from JFK, and Rush Limbaugh at one time played a speech from Hubert Humphrey. They sound like Reagan, you know, and people today, they're conservative. But, you know, like a lot of people say, the Democrats, you know, have left who I was, and so they switched over. Rightfully so.
Absolutely, Jim, absolutely. And hey, I'll tell you what, it's really a good thing that people now really see it there. And this Biden regime, boy, are they showcasing the leftism, all the like the cheating and
awful.
Yep.
It's like they took a big dump and they left the room.
Yeah.
So, well, listen, man, I appreciate your call. We have Glenn on from Kenosha. Glenn, how are you? Thanks for calling.
Yeah, okay. I want to tell you something. Those things up in the air are Chinese pilots. They're going to attack the United States. I'll tell you why, okay? That's just a diversion to keep the American people guessing, okay? I heard them talking about this on the radio. They're circling all over, and they're going to do something because Xi has to do something. He's losing ground with his own people in China.
Well, they're saying that Trump invited him to the inauguration, so I'm not sure what's going to happen.
Yeah, well, I heard about that too, and China gave what's his name the finger. He ain't going to do that because Xi wants to do something before Trump gets in. I don't know. Have you ever heard of a guy by the name of Gordon Chang?
Not offhand, but
okay, he's a Chinese guy.
Yeah.
And he's calling all the shots, and he says those are Chinese pilots in those things that are there, and they're going to attack the United States.
Yeah, I don't know why they don't shoot them down.
Well, that's the thing. The only reason they don't do that is because that's a good question, but I think then we would have a hell of a war with the Chinese over there. I think, man, then they'd swoop down on you.
If they're doing things in over our territory. But I agree, there's some things going on. I was hoping to have some congressional people call in. They haven't called in yet, so maybe they'll give us some insight.
Yeah, but see, Biden he's led by the nose by the Chinese. See?
Oh, I know. Yeah.
That's the thing over there, and people got to wake up.
Yep.
Because he don't want to face Trump. Okay.
Well, that's why they supported Kamala. Same thing with Putin. So, but listen, Glenn, I appreciate your call. And
okay, you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. No, that's a good point. Good points. Absolutely. Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
See ya.
Charlie Kirk sees the Democrats scrambling for answers.
Let me remind you of something. That we complain a lot about how they control the media. It turns out these Democrat donors at a conference and a retreat are wondering, how is it that Turning Point and this army that we were told didn't exist beat us?
The Charlie Kirk Show. Afternoons at 1, right before Sebastian Gorka at 3 on AM 560. The Answer.
A great smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, doctors Economos, Gave Alice, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidisciplined practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
My name is Dr. Joe Mealy. I've been a dentist for 56 years, and I'm a certified nutritional consultant. I started taking Balance of Nature 15 years ago. I think most people think when they eat fruits and vegetables, this is their idea of fruits and vegetables. I had an apple today. I had a pear today. I had a banana. That's their fruits and vegetables. They don't understand that each one of those fruits and vegetables has different nutrients than the others. Balance of Nature has made a significant difference in my life, in my wife's life. I feel we're on this earth to help each other, and if other people can benefit from my experience, I think that would be one of the best ways I could justify still being here at 81.
Go to balanceofnature.com and get 35% off your first preferred set with free shipping as a new preferred customer by using discount code CHICAGO.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
And now, more Black and Right with John Anthony on AM 560. The Answer.
Well, here we are, back again. And we have another special young lady on hold, the famous P. Ray from Chicago. She's done a lot of work to help change a lot of people's minds. She was, I heard about her early on when she was trying to get people in Austin to vote for Donald J. Trump, the greatest president, and P. Ray's come a long way. She had a radio show for a bit, and now she's becoming a media darling on Fox News and everything. So, P. Ray, welcome to Black and Right.
Hey, thank you so much for having me. I am at the Trump conservative meetup downtown at the Berghoff, so it's a little loud behind me, but I can hear you, and I'm glad to be here.
All right, good. So what are you guys doing down there?
We are actually just meeting up. This is a Twitter meetup. People in Chicago said, hey, all Trump people come down here and celebrate. So they're doing the white elephant giveaway now. People are hugging and taking pictures. It's a really good MAGA time.
Good. So how do you think your influence has been? Chicago turned Chicago red. I think it's doing a lot of good. What sort of things have you done here lately?
So our group is Chicago Red, and we were extremely effective in removing the stigma of racism from MAGA. We've been helping the American Negro population. I say American Negro because Black includes immigrants, and we are not immigrants. But to explain to the American Negro population that we are as American as sweet potato pie, not apple pie, because sweet potato pie is our pie, and we are American people. Everything from sea to shining sea is for us and us first as non-immigrant indigenous people in this land. You know, we were here before the government came.
Right.
And so it's working. You know, we're telling people that MAGA can't be racist because we are Americans ourselves. If someone wants to make America great again, they're talking about people like us. I am a proud 8th generation free American in this country, and I really want my country to thrive for me, just like it thrives for my grandparents, and it will thrive for my grandchildren.
Well, absolutely, but you got a long way before you become a grandma.
Yeah, I got a long time.
That's right.
But still, I'm looking forward to it. I love my grandmother, so I want to, spread that love. Even my grandmother, who grew up in a very segregated rural town in Mississippi. My family's from the poorest town in the poorest state in the country, and that's Chula, Mississippi. And 2 generations off the cotton field, we have PhDs, we have the master's degrees, we are finance professionals. So I know the power of hard work and grit in this country, and how this country can definitely be great for those who want it to be great.
Well, absolutely. So tell us about some of your media appearances. You're becoming quite the media darling. You've been on Laura Ingraham's show, and who else?
Yeah, so I've been on Fox. I was just on yesterday with Sandra Smith. And the night before that, I was on Fox News at night. Last week I was on Laura Ingraham twice. I was on Fox and Friends in the morning. I've been on Newsmax several times. So our movement is growing. The reason that I believe that our movement is growing and why the media really appreciates me is because I am authentically Chicago. I'm a fourth generation Chicagoan. My great-grandmother came up here in the 1940s. And then my grandparents, my grandmother, and my grandfather came here in the 50s. And my mother was born at Cook County Hospital in 57. So when I'm talking about Chicago, this is a very authentic experience because I choose to live in this city because I love it so much.
Well, absolutely. Plus, you know the mayor, Johnson.
Yeah, we live in the same neighborhood. We're in the same social circle.
Right.
And they said that I'm actually driving him crazy. Everybody is blaming all of Brandon's problems on me because we are in the same social circle. Every box to check. I'm a college graduate. I'm a member of Alpha Kappa Alpha, which is the same sorority as Kamala. So I'm supposed to be a liberal darling, and I'm destroying their system because I grew up in that castle. I grew up as a princess of the Democratic Party here on the west side of Chicago. But when I saw that they weren't meeting my needs, I went to the White House, met with Dr. Carson, met with Donald Trump, got red-pilled in 2018, and I've been bringing that movement to this city ever since.
Well, plus you rightfully point out, for example, all the money that's being spent on these migrants. They canceled the busing for your kids to go to school, so you have to drive your daughter to the school?
Correct.
And all that money was there, but they gave it to the migrants.
Yeah, that's what actually pushed me into this space. Because before I was just on the radio, but my daughter attends a selective enrollment school that she earned her way into. And as a selective enrollment graduate, I know that service or those type of schools come with school buses. However, 2 weeks before school started last year, Brandon Johnson reneged on the bus promise, but then gave that money to the illegals because they count them as unhoused people. So illegals get a school bus, but my daughter does not.
Yeah,
and that's what has pushed me.
Well, plus the debit cards and all this money.
Morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, what's going to happen? They're talking about the budget. Are they going to put speeding cameras up on some of these streets?
Yeah, so they said that they're going to increase speed cameras and red light cameras. They're going to nickel and dime us in order to pay for the illegals. However, the budget that he wants, this multi-billion-dollar budget, is not going to pass because we're not going to increase our property taxes to pay for these people. I've been in my building, or my family has been in our building for 52 years on the west side of Chicago.
Yeah.
So it's very difficult to maintain property on the west side of Chicago. But now my cousin group chats are about property taxes because we have to figure out how to pay more taxes for people who paid the cartel to traffic them into our country. We're not going to accept that.
Absolutely. Well, that's good. Listen, sounds like you're having a good time there. So.
No, I'm sorry. I'm here with you. I'm
Okay.
off to the side. It's just that it's very loud here
All right.
because, again, we're at the Christmas party.
Okay. We have a few more minutes, and then we got some other folks calling at the bottom of the hour. So what sort of things are you doing now as far as with Chicago Red? What sort of events? And you guys should have a big get-together.
Yeah, so Chicago Red is actually hosting a New Year's Eve party, and that flyer will go out soon. I'll send it to John so that he can get it out to the listening audience. Our goal, again, is to help more people become courageous in this fight because courage is contagious.
Absolutely.
I have a Trump sign in my yard in the Austin community on the west side of Chicago. So those who are listening, if I can have my Trump sign in my yard in Black Chicago, you have to put your sign out too. Wear your MAGA hats. There are many more people who are aligned with us than we actually believe, but they believe that they're all alone, and they're not. So our goal is to build community. Our goal is to really effectively attack the policies that they're using my skin color and ethnicity to push. For instance, Brandon Johnson said that the deportation moves would hurt Black families. It absolutely would not hurt my family because all of us are Americans.
Plus,
so
how many
why
Black
are you
families are
using-
victims of these people?
Correct.
Yeah.
Not only are they raising our property taxes, but they're also making us less safe in terms of crime, but also in terms of disease. Because Chicago was the epicenter of the measles outbreak last spring because they put the children of the illegals in the Chicago public schools while they were sick. And now the children of Chicago are very, very sick. I have a friend whose daughter is going to get surgery next week because she has some unknown lump growing on her neck. And her school was a part of that measles outbreak. So this is getting very serious, and we have to save ourselves. This is literally a measure of life or death for us.
Well, you're absolutely correct, and this is the great thing you're doing in the neighborhood because they're not going to listen to somebody like me, but somebody like you it's been there for a while, and you get other people around you and grow your numbers. That's good.
I love you. I love you too. So yeah, that's what we're doing. We were able to, again, effectively remove the stigma of racism from MAGA. For those who are listening, being America first does not make you racist, because the most American people in this country are non-white people. So we have to stop saying that MAGA is racist. If you believe that MAGA is racist, then you are the racist, because you believe that being American is rooted in whiteness, and it is not. We are a multicultural melting pot of people, and we all want to make this country great for everybody.
That's right, and that's why I respect people like Clarence Thomas and Senator Scott and Byron McDaniels from Florida, because these people are taking the slings and arrows, because how dare you get off the plantation?
Yeah, I mean, but it's okay. We're going to get away from them. We know that we deserve better than them, and that's what I'm pushing to everybody. Chicago Red is a political organization, but our game strategy is self-esteem. Because if you have high self-esteem, then you know and understand that this country belongs to you, that your family is very deep, bone and flesh in this land, and we will not allow illegals to walk over us.
Well, you're doing a good job, and enjoy your party, and don't drink too much.
Thank you so much.
God
bless America, guys.
Thank you. Bye.
I testify, I don't need a subpoena. They want my soul, better go to Korea. I love my dog just like I'm Peter.
On Monday, January 20th, Donald Trump will be sworn in as the 47th President of the United States. AM 560, The Answer, is throwing a party. Join us for our inauguration celebration on January 20th at Saddle Up Q in Aurora. Enjoy a brunch buffet with AM 560 listeners as we watch the inauguration of President Trump. Tickets are on sale now at 560theanswer.com/Trump47. That's 560theanswer.com/Trump47.
Fox News, I'm Daria Aldinger. The feds say they are investigating the massive number of reports of drones over the East Coast.
FBI and DHS briefed the media to say there are confirmed drone sightings over military bases here in New Jersey, but at this point, there's no indication these drones are linked to any criminal activity or foreign actor.
That's Fox's C.B. Cotton. The man accused of murdering United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson is still in Pennsylvania, but that could change soon. Fox's Chanley Painter.
According to the Manhattan DA, Luigi Mangione could be back in a Pennsylvania courtroom as soon as Tuesday, where we will learn if the accused killer is changing his mind about fighting his extradition to New York.
America is listening to Fox News.
Hi, it's Scott Tucker, host of Retirement Dakota with Scott Tucker, heard on AM 560 on Sundays at 8 a.m. and again at 5 p.m. I want to offer you a free copy of my latest book, Escape Illinois, Should I Stay or Should I Go? To get your free copy of my latest book, Escape Illinois, Should I Stay or Should I Go? Just go to retirementdakota.com. That's retirementdakota.com. And please listen every Sunday at 8 a.m. and again at 5 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Bad decisions limit future options. Make enough bad decisions and you'll destroy your life. Listen to The Flot Line with Rick Hughes tomorrow morning at 7. The Flot Line describes a main line of resistance in your soul built on God's Word. Listen tomorrow morning for inspiration, motivation, education, all without manipulation. That's The Flot Line with Rick Hughes. Tomorrow morning at 7 on AM 560, The Answer.
It's time for Christmas at Cantini. A time for laughter and joy. A time for cherished moments by coming together with the ones you love. Be awed by twinkling lights. Feel the thrill of gliding on ice. And enjoy the cozy warmth of s'mores by the fire. Cherish the moments together this holiday season at Christmas at Cantini. Get your tickets at Cantini.org. Sponsored by the Robert R. McCormick Foundation.
Hi, this is Carl Amari.
I'm Lisa Wolf. Join us every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. for all things entertainment on Hollywood 360.
If you love classic radio shows, The Shadow, Jack Benny, The Lone Ranger, Dragnet, Gunsmoke, and many more, We have them for you on Hollywood 360.
We'll also present trivia contests with prizes, showbiz news, celebrity interviews, games, and movie reviews.
So don't miss Hollywood 360 every Saturday night beginning at 8 p.m. on AM 560, The Answer.
Life takes a toll on our bodies. No way around it. Whether it's sitting hours on end at your computer or working a physical job, over time your body pays the price. There is, however, an effective way to turn back the clock on pain. Relief Factor. Developed by doctors, Relief Factor helps support your body's response to inflammation. The difference? Instead of masking pain, Relief Factor helps eliminate it for good. And it's 100% drug-free. If the pains that come with living a full life are affecting you, do as so many others have. Turn back the clock on pain with Relief Factor. Their 3-week quick start is just $19.95, less than $1 a day. When you feel good, it's amazing how much more you get out of life. So visit ReliefFactor.com or call 1-800-4RELIEF. That's 1-800-4RELIEF. Try it for only $19.95. While we can't stop aging, not yet, we can stop pain. Turn back the clock with Relief Factor.
Wealth Health Radio. The biggest fears that people have is, do I have enough money to retire?
Retirement doesn't have to be complicated.
To make sure that you're going through retirement with confidence.
Learn principles of income planning.
There's a lot of different facets that you need to take into consideration when you're retiring.
Tune into Wealth Health Radio with Joe Murphy, noon to 1 p.m. Sundays on AM 560, The Answer.
From breaking news and weather across the country to insight from the brightest minds in conservative opinion, it's Salem News Channel, home to the biggest shows on TV, like Hugh Hewitt weekdays at 6 a.m. Eastern, followed by Mike Gallagher at 9. Join SNC, where facts are sacred, critical thinking is celebrated, and the pursuit of truth is unwavering. Watch Salem News Channel free, now on Zumo Play. Learn more at snc.tv/Zumo.
We now return to Black and White on AM 560. The Answer. Here's John Anthony.
Well, we're at the bottom of the hour. A little more time to go here. And now we have Eduardo from Tampa Bay calling in. Eduardo is a very special guy. You think I know a lot about radio stuff. Eduardo, he's the king of radio because he knows all these stations. I mean, he calls all these different stations, New York and everywhere else. So, Eduardo, thanks for calling in. How are you doing?
Yeah, good. I'm doing good. Good evening. Yeah, and it's good to hear P. Ray's voice on the air again. So the Berghoff, right on Adams Street, close to the Chris Crenna Market right there in downtown. Very nice. Yeah.
Yep.
But I don't miss the cold. So
No.
that I don't miss.
Well, this year's not been too bad
I got to
so
go back
far.
to this. Yeah, I got to go back to this COVID thing because this Lisa Dominski from Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, she won a $12 million judgment for refusing the vaccine, but she got punished. And then in New York, you had this Dr. Jay Barma, who was, remember I told you yesterday, he was partying while we were under COVID rules. He was under Mayor de Blasio. So separate rules for the people in authority and us regular folks. Oh, we got to obey the orders.
Well,
And
our
these
governor
people
is
that are-
guilty of that too. Absolutely.
Yeah, and these people who are worshiping this guy who killed this United CEO, this is just a crusade for single payer. I mean, even Terry Savage says, you want to wait long lines like you do over there in Europe. This is ridiculous. Yeah.
Yeah, ever since Obamacare, the medical profession's has been really damaged, because they forced doctors to join these big hospitals and things, and especially during the days of COVID, you couldn't give an independent opinion, otherwise you'd be bounced out of your group. And those that did, like our Dr. Scott that called in earlier, they were dealt with very harshly.
Yeah. I talked to Stephen Moore today in New York during the day. He was talking about, he was asking the callers, what would you cut waste? I told him New York, Chicago, and L.A., those three big cities. There's plenty of waste to cut from those three big cities.
Oh, absolutely.
Those Democratic-run cities. Yeah.
Well, I mean, in Illinois, we have something like 7,000 layers of government. And with Florida, I had a conversation with Senator Rubio when he was first running, and he said, what they do in Florida, they have sunset provisions, so every 10 years or something, if something's not voted by the legislature, it goes away.
Right.
Keep it clean. It shouldn't be a partisan fight, but unfortunately it is. So,
Yeah.
Well, listen, Eduardo, thank you for calling.
All right,
We got
Jim, have a
this.
good evening. Yeah.
Talk to you soon.
All right, enjoy the rest of the show.
Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, next on tap is Ralph, my friend from Wisconsin. Ralph, thanks for calling in. And what's going on with the Supreme Court that we're discussing?
Yeah, I'm in southern Wisconsin, and we just took Wisconsin for Trump. But now it's the spring elections next, and the biggest spring election in the nation is the Wisconsin Supreme Court race, which will be held in April. And many of your listeners are within range of Wisconsin, may live in Wisconsin. And we have a great candidate named Brad Schimmel, who was the Attorney General for 8 years with Scott Walker, our governor. And so he's got a great shot of winning, but we need everybody to really fight for this one. This is going to be a real gauge of how the MAGA movement is looking, into the Trump first term, because, we need to keep the momentum going.
Exactly.
This is the balance of power is at stake in the Wisconsin Supreme Court. And if we don't win this race, they're going to reverse all of the reforms that Scott Walker put through, including Act 10, which was the union, putting the unions in their place, voter ID, and concealed carry permits. All that stuff is going to be taken away by our Supreme Court if we don't win this.
Well, I thought an election last year where the Supreme Court already kind of went Democratic?
Yes, the Democrats took the court 2 years ago in the spring, so say a year and a half ago, they took the court from the conservatives. The liberals took it over, but they've only had, a short amount of time really to. The judge was sworn in August of 2023, so they've only had a little over a year to do their damage. But now they're really going to start. If we don't win this one, it's 3 more years until the next election.
Now, what's the makeup as far as Democrat, Republican?
Right now, it's 4-3 for the liberals over the conservatives. It's
So
4-3.
if our guy wins, it'll go back to 4-3 Republican.
It'll be 4-3 for the conservatives.
Well, people in
That's
Illinois,
right.
this is the marching orders. We got to help our friends to the north.
That's right. Brad Schimmel. He was 8 years as as the Attorney General. He went to law school up here in Wisconsin, and he won the election with Walker, and Walker and Schimmel served together. I spoke with Schimmel a couple days ago. I saw him this morning. He's all over Wisconsin. He's hit 65 of the 72 counties, and he just said that he raised 7 times as much money as our last candidate for Supreme Court at this stage in the election. 7 times as much, and the last judge had set the record for a judge at the time, at least for a conservative judge. But in the last election, the Democrats spent $34 million on the liberal judge that won last time. $34 million.
Well, maybe we should have him down
We'll
here
win
for
that.
some fundraisers here in Illinois. Kind of give him some exposure
we
here.
can do that. We can get that set up. I'd be happy to help out.
That'd be good. Yeah, there's a group I'm involved with, Paul Caprio and Family Pack, and sometimes we have people come in from different areas to, support them. So that'd be good. Yeah, this is
He's a
important.
judge based out of the southeastern Wisconsin area, in the let's say Brookfield, Milwaukee area.
Yeah,
that's where he's from. So that's his base right now.
Sounds good.
But he's been all over Wisconsin. He's been running, I had him at an event earlier in June.
Yeah.
But he's been all over the place.
Sounds
He's
good.
very,
Hey, man, listen,
very
we're
hard worker.
we're on a break. Thanks for calling in. Thanks for the update, and we'll be in touch. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome, Jim.
Be good.
Kenway Consulting LLC seeks 2 project management engineers in Chicago, Illinois to manage engineering assessment projects, including the provision of compliance recommendations. Requires a bachelor's degree in engineering or closely related field, plus 1.5 years experience in a closely related occupation. Requires 1.5 years experience with the following: API development, JSON, SQL, technical requirement design, business analytics and project management, business intelligence reporting tools such as Power BI, Tableau, Looker, QLIC, computer-aided design software such as Microsoft Visio. Telecommuting available. Mail resumes to Sarah B. Weiss at 200 North LaSalle Street, Suite 1850, Chicago, Illinois 60601. Again, Kenway Consulting LLC seeks 2 project management engineers in Chicago, Illinois. Mail resumes to Sarah B. Weiss at 200 North LaSalle Street, Suite 1850, Chicago, Illinois 60601.
Balance of Nature supplements, changing the world one life at a time.
Balance of Nature makes a difference in my well-being and how I feel and everything. It's true. It makes a difference. If you take Balance of Nature, you have a happy day because you just feel a little better. It's like a restaurant in New Orleans. Her famous saying was, when you come to our restaurant, you leave a little happier than when you got here. And that's what Balance of Nature does. It lets your day be a little happier than it would be without the Balance of Nature.
Merry Christmas! This season, be part of the cheer and save big with our exclusive Christmas deal. Call 1-800-246-8751 or go to balanceofnature.com and sign up as a new preferred customer to get 35% off your first preferred set. Don't miss out. Go to balanceofnature.com or call 1-800-246-8751 and get this exclusive Christmas offer by using discount code CHICAGO.
$20 million. No, it's not the national debt. It's the buying spree at Fox Valley Coins. And it's on from now until Thanksgiving. It's really the perfect storm. Gold and silver are at historic levels. Fox Valley Coins has a huge order to fill with one of their national clients. And September through Thanksgiving is always when coin dealers stock up for Christmas sales. They are especially looking for the old collector coins like silver dollars, all 1700s through early 1900s coins. All kinds of gold from broken jewelry to gold bars to the old coins, U.S. and foreign. All kinds of silver from sterling silverware to old coins and bars to Franklin Mint items. They can pay cash or check and make house calls on larger deals prior to Thanksgiving. Fox Valley Coins, one light north of I-88 at the Naperville-Warrenville border. They'll make free, no-obligation offers. Make that 20,000,001 reasons to go to Fox Valley Coins now. They give free in-store offers on your items.
It's the show the mainstream media doesn't want you to know about. It's Black and Right with John Anthony on AM 560. The Answer.
Well, here we are one more time, and we got my good friend, my studio partner sometimes, Verlan. Thanks for calling in, buddy.
How's it going, Jim?
I'm good, but you're supposed to be here, so we go to the watering hole after the show and have a few drinks.
How does it feel being in the big boy chair today? You've been the co-host for so long. I mean, you always coming in, you always talking. How does it feel being the man behind the big boy microphone?
Well, it's pretty impressive, I have to say. It's a lot of things to learn and look at here, and yeah, but it's been fun. It's been a lot.
You
of fun.
ain't black. Well, the reason why I called in is because, I love Cal. I love him. But he wakes me up every single time he talks because he wants to take the non-black approach. And I'm saying that because he does not want to accept the majority black mindset. Okay, now, if you want to say nationally, yeah, we stole a lot of votes, a lot of things from the Democrats as far as 17% of black people, 24 to 25% of black men, but 17% of black people voted Republican. But today you've been talking about Illinois. 92% of black people voted Democrat. You understand?
And they
so
keep
that means
on
you will
complaining.
never have a black.
And they keep on complaining.
Okay, forget about the complaint. You will never have a Republican mayor. You will never have a Republican board president, Cook County board president, and more counties are moving Democrat. DuPage County, Will County. If you don't win these big counties, you will never take back Illinois. So, we're talking about Illinois. I love Calvin and the other people that love to have hope for Illinois, but there's no hope for Illinois. The only reason why we came within 500,000, like Calvin said, 500,000 votes of taking Illinois is because of what John and I talked about for years, and I've spoken about fluently. You gotta wake up downstate Illinois, like Dixon, East Moline, and all the rest of them. downstate. I've said you got to take buses and you got to go knock on doors and you got to travel all down Illinois. That's the only way you're going to win, because the cities and these counties, you've lost them. The people downstate have been done since Ronald Reagan. And they have the mentality, as long as you don't come on my land, I don't care what's going on in none of the metropolitan cities.
Well,
So
we'll see what happens. I think
wake up.
I think some people are. I mean, actually, in King County, it didn't go the way we wanted, but it was certainly much better than before. And actually, Will County was pretty close too. Chuck Maher only lost by a very small percentage point. So hopefully things will keep on going. Especially they lost, but I think with the influence of Trump, and also a lot of people have left Illinois, like Frank Napolitano and other folks that would do a lot of good work here. They moved to other states. So we have to kind of cultivate the same thing here to grow our numbers. People saying
but you gotta think long term. You gotta think beyond Trump.
Exactly.
So you have to go down there and start knocking on doors, Jim. It's not just social media. It's not just TV. You gotta talk to people where they live.
Right.
These people, these are regular, everyday people. You gotta have conversations. You gotta go down there and talk to people, knock on doors. Flyers, go back to flyers and social media, whatever.
Right.
You have to bombard these people with information so they can wake the hell up.
Right. Well, that's why a lot of people are ignoring the mainstream media, especially with all the stuff with COVID now. They're just realizing they've been lied to all these years. So,
but just remember history, Jim. Yeah. Remember history. After Ronald Reagan, they disappeared.
Right.
After Trump, what do you think might happen?
Well,
they may disappear.
Hopefully Vance will continue to.
I got to stop you, Jim. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. Vance has a lot to prove over these 4 years under Trump. We'll see.
That's right.
But it could be a lot of. We got a bench. We got to remember, Trump was like number 17, the candidate when he went against 16 other candidates.
Right, exactly.
We got a big bench. It could be other. It could be other.
Well, we'll see what happens. So, how's your daughter doing, by the way?
Yeah.
Now, how's your daughter? She doing okay?
It was a great. Hey, you're doing a great show, man. I love it. You're almost moderate, but you like right leaning. But it's a good show. John's gonna be proud of you, man.
All right. Well, listen, I miss you. We'll have to do something soon in studio.
Hey, we're gonna do something soon, like the first of the year.
Sounds good, brother.
Sometime in January.
Peace, my friend. Appreciate it.
Peace.
Okay, now we got Rob on the phone. Rob, welcome, and we'll hold you over the next section if we need to. What's going on?
Hello, Jim. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Yeah, Rob from Wheaton. Last time I saw you, I gave you my book under the name Fred Scuttle, the epic poem called Donald of Orange.
Okay. Yes. Yes.
I wanted to call you about a comment you made in passing, but it was a very profound comment to the lady right before the news break. Well, you were talking about the courage of black conservatives, and you mentioned Byron Donalds and Clarence Thomas and Tim Scott. And I would add, of course, John Anthony and Verlon and Devin from the show. But I'm going to tell you a story about my time in law school 35 years ago, University of Chicago. I joined the Federalist Society because I'm a conservative. And our class is about 180 students in each class, and we had about a dozen blacks. And we had 3 blacks coming to the first couple of Federalist Society events in that first quarter. And they were enthusiastic, and then by the 3rd or 4th event, they all disappeared. And one of my friends in the Federalists who talks to these folks, he knew them better than I did. He told me exactly why they stopped coming to Federalist events. It's because there was a group at the law school called BLSA, B-L-S-A, Black Law Students Association.
Yeah, lawfare is a big issue. My problem.
They read the riot act to these guys, saying, "What the hell are you doing with the Federalists? We're all leftists. We're Democrats." And so I don't believe in affirmative action for anything except one exception. Morally, I give affirmative action extra credit to blacks who are courageous enough to be conservatives, and that goes back to 35 years ago when I first saw it in action.
I hear you.
When people were deprived of the group they wanted to join because other students in their group of their race told them, don't do it. We're going to make your life
That's
a
why we have
living
to
hell.
support them. Absolutely. So thank you, sir, for
And
calling
that's why
in.
they get extra credit. Yeah. Take care, Jim.
Our pleasure. Be good.
Are you looking for a trustworthy garage to keep your Dodge Ram 45 or 5500 Cummins engine in tip-top shape? Look no further than Remke's Garage in Marengo. At Remke's Garage, their experienced team treats every car like it's their own. Plus, they believe in transparency, no surprises, just honest service and fair pricing. Check out the incredible reviews that satisfied customers have left on Google as they speak for themselves. With state-of-the-art equipment and a commitment to quality, they're proud to be your local choice for automotive care. And here's the best part, they offer free pickup and drop-off for your convenience. Both individually owned and fleet vehicle programs available to meet your needs. So why wait? Swing by Remke's Garage today and let them get you back on the road with confidence. Visit Remke'sGarage.com. Remke's Garage, repairing America.
The fentanyl epidemic is killing 400 Americans per day. The new documentary, Fentanyl Death Incorporated, takes a deep dive into this deadly killer.
It is the equivalent of a 747 going down every 2 days.
The 9,000 kilograms that were seized by the HIDTA program last year is sufficient to kill the population of the United States several times over.
Americans age 18 to 45 are the #1 consumers of fentanyl. Our friends, our neighbors, our own family members.
The Surgeon General released the report on the epidemic of loneliness, and that is a real thing.
Where is all of this stuff coming from?
Who's in the fentanyl supply chain? Where are the super labs? How are they using our open borders to cause such devastation?
All roads lead back to China.
The danger is all around us. The time is now.
They're killing our children. And how do we change that?
Don't miss this important documentary report, Fentanyl Death Incorporated. It could save the life of someone you love. Available exclusively at salemnow.com. salemnow.com.
Let's get it to him, baby girl. Hey. That's right.
Black and Right continues on AM 560. Once again, here's John Anthony.
Well, the end is here, as they say. I've spent a lot of fun, a lot of good calls, and interesting for me. Like I said, John Anthony, got to buy the merch. Buy the merch. You can go to blackandrightradio.com and buy the merch. I bought a couple of beer glasses about 2 years ago, and it came like it was packed in a nuclear explosion-proof container. It took like an hour and a half to get the thing open. It was so well packed. But anyways, this has been a lot of fun, and I think the whole racial issue is something to be focused on. Like I always say, financially, the color that's more important than black and white is green. And when these people vote for folks that don't let them have their own green, they're voting themselves out of empowerment. So I try to use that, when I'm on Urban Talk Radio, I try to use that sort of example because, people are being lied to about the economy. And if you have your own money, that's your own empowerment. And also, like I was saying before, one of the reasons why I became so political is because of my business experiences. Besides the Cook County property tax fiasco, the pension plans, for example, you hear all these problems with the pension plans. Well, the problem with the pension plans, what they would do is they would rewrite the rules. So like in football, for example, when they went to a 2-point or 1-point PAT after a touchdown, they did that, with the new season, and all the previous games were decided, and that was it. Well, what they do with the pension plans, the old pension plans, they rewrite the rules. So instead of just say, okay, if you had a plan from before, it's grandfathered, and then any plan started after this period is subject to the new rules. They don't do that. And that put a lot of these pension plans upside down and made them costly, and just it's untenable. Anyways, I want to leave the show here. As you know, I'm a prescribing doctor, and there's an over-the-counter drug. It's called the Brain, and there was a great parody. So you can listen to this and make sure you give this valuable drug to all your liberal friends that don't know how to think.
I used to believe everything I'd see on the news, but that's before I discovered a brain.
A brain is meant for everyday use. Those living with moderate to severe stupidity have seen immediate improvement in common sense with a brain.
I thought the government had my best interests at heart, and then a friend told me about a brain.
Talk to your doctor about what news sources you obey. A brain may also lower your desire to take life-altering advice from celebrities.
Getting lectured about my carbon footprint from people with 3 private jets used to make sense. But thanks to a brain, now I can think for myself every day. When my disregard for 3rd grade biology began to flare up, I knew it was time for a brain.
Do not try a brain if you're allergic to a brain. Common side effects may include accountability, discernment, homeschooling your kids, a better understanding of economics, awareness of the stupidity of socialism, and diarrhea.
For tethering yourself to reality, the only no-brainer is choosing a brain. Ask your doctor if a brain is right for you.
For more information, visit tryabrain.com.
Smile can make you feel happy and confident. So when you consciously conserve your teeth, that glowing smile will show through. At Best Dental Group, doctors Economos, Gay Vallis, and their staff are ready to help you create that perfect look or maintain the one you have now. Along with general dentistry, Best Dental Group is a multidiscipline practice with an orthodontist, periodontist, and prosthetic specialists on site. They use the newest breakthroughs in dental technology such as titanium implants, Invisalign clear braces, and laser treatments. Don't let fear get in the way. They can recommend sedation to make your experience as comfortable as possible. Best Dental Group is located in historic downtown Bartlett and is a multilingual office. Call 630-830-4930, 630-830-4930, or visit bestdental.org. Best Dental Group, sharing your conservative values and helping you to conserve your teeth.
News, opinion, insight. This is AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago. Streaming at 560theanswer.com on the AM 560 mobile app, or tell your smart speaker to play The Answer Chicago.
More drone sightings and more questions. I'm Daria Albinger, Fox News. We've been hearing from lawmakers and residents alike about those mysterious drones over a number of states. And that includes over one of the most sensitive national security facilities in the country.
Multiple media reports are saying there have been drone sightings over Quantico in Virginia. That's home to the FBI Academy and the headquarters for investigative services for several service branches. InsideNova.com says drone sightings also reported over Naval Support Facility Dahlgren, located in nearby King George County, which is known for the development of long-range ballistics weapons. Just a few weeks ago, the Pentagon confirmed several unauthorized drone sightings in 2023 at Langley Air Force Base and Naval Station Norfolk, also in Virginia. The White House has been saying there's no known threat from drones. Jill Nato, Fox News.
The suspect in the murder of United Healthcare CEO Brian Thompson could be back in New York City very soon.
Investigators say Luigi Mangione could be back in New York City next week. That's if he agrees and signs the paperwork. This comes as we're learning that Mangione had been reported missing in California. His mom called the San Francisco police last month, saying she had not talked to her son since July. Investigators tell me Luigi was never a client of United Healthcare, which is important to point out because police say he specifically targeted the company's CEO. So the question is, what was the motive? It might have to do with X-ray that police say he posted online, telling people that he recently had back surgery. But people I talked to in Hawaii say he didn't seem to be like he was in much pain.
That's Fox's Alexis McAdams. Former House Speaker Nancy Pelosi recovering from hip replacement surgery after taking a fall in Luxembourg. America is listening to Fox News.
Now, your official weather forecast.
Tonight, expect occasional rain. It will be breezy this evening. We'll see a nighttime low of 37. Tomorrow, a little rain early in the morning, otherwise low clouds. Tomorrow's high 45. Monday, mostly cloudy, breezy, and mild with periods of morning rain, then a shower possible for the afternoon. Expect a high Monday of 50. I'm Drew Shannon on AM 560, The Answer.
Get the latest weather, traffic, and news updates online at 560theanswer.com.
The holidays mean more travel, more shopping, and more personal info in more places that could expose you more to identity theft. That's why LifeLock monitors millions of data points every second. If your identity's stolen, their U.S.-based restoration specialists will fix it guaranteed or your money back. Don't face drained accounts, fraudulent loans, or financial losses alone. Get more holiday fun and less holiday worry with LifeLock. Save up to 40% your first year with promo code CLAY. Visit LifeLock.com. Terms apply.
Your pet isn't just a pet, they're part of your family. Most of the pet food on the market is cooked at high temperatures, which kills nutrients. A scoop of Dynovite is a 3-in-1 daily supplement, adding back key nutrients to your pup's health. Try Dynovite for free. Just pay shipping and handling. Learn more at dinovite.com/radio. That's dinovite.com/radio.
Happier, healthier with every bite. Over 1 million pets helped with Dynovite.
The holidays are a perfect time to treat yourself to an exceptional meal out, a truly delicious fine dining experience.